Howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon, or the home of Adventures in Alberon. We are instead taking a little break from this campaign while our friend Matt is away doing an assignment for about a month. We are joined by Drew of Dicey Encounters. Thank you very much for joining us for a four-part mini campaign still set in the same world as Adventures in Alberon, set in the exact same continuity on the same continent, just across on a different shore. We're going to be playing in Dungannon tonight, but we'll get to that in just a second. A couple of things to say really quick before we actually get started. Just a moment. We have a website, which is alberonrpg.com. It will be updated, I believe, tomorrow with a little bit of stuff, kind of a recap of what happens tonight. Some of the pictures that we have are going to be there, but for a lot more of those, our Instagram account at AlberonRPG is where you could go and check us out. Drew, I don't know if there's anything that you want to kind of talk about or plug.
I love to shill. Shilling is what I do.
Yeah, do it.
Hi, everybody. Drew with Dicey Encounters. My website is going. The shop's open. I actually have some sets up in the shop right now. You can go check it out. It's www.diceencountersdice.com. And then I have a pre-order starting for some magma dice on the 26th, I believe, is when that goes live. So yeah, that's all I got to shill.
And you just posted some pictures of like their inner, I don't know what they're called, captures?
Yeah, they're little blanks that go on the inside of the dice. So what I'll do is I mold those, and then I put those on the inside of the dice, and that way you can get this really cool effect.
Yeah,
from the inside.
So if you do have Instagram, I highly recommend checking out Dicey Encounters on there, because there's just absolutely beautiful pictures. And we all use Dicey Encounters dice in our original campaign. So check out Dicey Encounters. Yeah, there you go. Allie has one right there. So with that, because there is no recap, this is the first session in this mini campaign, we can just go ahead and get started. Just one moment. And I'm going to be mixing music on the fly here because, something has to... It's a one-shot. Okay, so... A raw gray fog has begun to roll across the sky wharf, this 45-foot-tall high dock that runs up and connects by these huge, oversized masts and rigging all of the docks on the northern shores here in Dungannon. Through the fog, there are elements of sun that still cause kind of a white-gray glow to swim across the mists. There are tinges of orange as the sun has begun to set, just dropping low on the horizon over the sparkling green waters of the Emerald Expanse to the west. There is a cold breeze coming this close to the ocean, but not unpleasant, even at this time of year. You were asked to meet a Rider of Gallvaney, which is sort of Dungannon's police and military all rolled into one. They currently are short-handed. Recent spate of violence, which some of you may know a little bit about, causing them to be stretched quite thin. They have begun to hire adventurers, at the very least pay them, to help in some of the more urgent needs, kind of a deputization, if you will. Looking to the east, there are parts, and actually parts of the south, although the fog makes it kind of hard to see too far there. You can see that there are paper lanterns beginning to cast faint auras here and there in the fog as the entire city prepares for the Daybreak Festival, which will begin at sundown and go through dawn to celebrate the lengthening days ahead and the short, dark days behind. The docks around you are much quieter than usual, even for a Monday evening, owing to the citizenry preparing their black and gold outfits for the night. But as you guys are walking along this sort of cobblestone path, the ocean off to your right, and these houses sort of cluster together, a few lights here and there beginning in these small windows here. Let's see. Miles, could you please describe your character?
Yes. So, I am a human man.
Oh, wow. Delving into the fantasy of fantasy.
Very, very well. Here's the fantasy part. Very well dressed. Very well fitting clothing. Sort of, I don't know, about as average build as you can imagine. Cropped beard, nice tight hair, and wearing of course, the fancy clothing-ish, not like frilly or anything, but well dressed. The shoes, just immediately, everyone would notice them. They're very, very fancy shoes. They actually have red bottoms, if that means anything to anyone.
I know what that means.
But doesn't matter. So I feel like I would be having just closed up my shop, right? Since it's sort of the end of the day, and as my store doesn't really provide anything.
You're the proprietor, so it's
my store doesn't provide anything that would be related to what the festival's about, so I feel like it would, be closed.
Likely.
Yeah, and that's that. I feel like I would have my claymore on my back, just as I have received the offer, which I accepted, to become a temporary Rider of Gallvaney, you said?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And worth noting, there are people still armed in the streets. And though there is this kind of general lighthearted air for those of you, and I believe most of you actually kind of have spent some time here in Dungannon, there is an edge to tonight, this kind of sense that there is danger. All of you spending some amount of time here would know the dead are not staying as quiet as they used to. And so night here does bring a little bit more of a sinister cast than it has in the past. But people still excited. These celebrations still ongoing. No problem. Your claymore does not make you stand out, but you're shooting you. And as you walk, you can see people kind of following you and kind of still looking behind. Mm-hmm. Not an uncommon thing for you.
Yeah. And I'm not like showboating it at all. I'm just like, this is how people should dress. That's just how I feel.
Absolutely. Speaking of well-dressed, a little bit more motley in their assortment, but and actually, sorry, Miles, what was your character's name?
Sulwyn, Sulwyn, Sulwyn Howell.
And you are a fighter human, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. So, Sulwyn Howell. Tina. Also very interestingly clad, although a little bit more motley in your equipment. Could you please describe your character?
Short, gnome, female, wearing a blue cloak that covers most of it. Very bright color. The clothing underneath it reminiscent of sailor garb, perhaps even pirate-like in a way. Grays, some blues. Appears armed to the teeth. She's got a staff on her back. She's got a rapier. She's got several daggers. A nice big pocketbook of things stuffed in it. And does appear to be chewing on some gum as she walks.
Yeah, so just this casual chew. And part of you not really attracting attention with your claymore, Sulwyn, is that there are people kind of bumping in. And when they do bump into you, Tina, there is this kind of rattle, and they look down at this smaller figure, kind of thinking it's a kid. And as they go to kind of smile, they see just the staff and all these various accoutrements just kind of armed up. I imagine you kind of have a scowl on your face as well. And suddenly there's this kind of, and they back around. What is your name?
Annis Ironfoot.
Annis Ironfoot. And you are a gnome wizard rogue, correct?
Correct.
Fantastic. So the two of you walk along through these misty streets. Allie, can you please describe your character?
Yeah, I'm Bunghole Steve. I am a middle-aged satyr man. Not in the best shape, but not too bad. Maybe got a little pudge. Yeah, and just a real jolly face, a welcoming smile, and saying hi to anyone who passes.
And it's interesting because
Are you naked?
Common clothes.
Okay.
Not patchy, but they're not fine. They're decent.
Sure.
Decent.
You're decent. Okay.
And as per usual with Allie's characters, of the four of you, most of the looks kind of cast in this direction. There are satyr within Dungannon. Dungannon a little bit more, because it is on the western coast of Dominion. Across the Emerald Expanse lies Everest, this sort of fey-touched continent that a little bit more diverse in its offerings. You probably would distantly hail from there, if not directly, but either way, you do draw attention. Though there are a few of you, it is not a common sight. Similar to Tabaxi, although more common than Tabaxi. People do kind of turn and watch, looking at your kind of odd build. As you do kind of smile and say hello, there are kind of uneasy greetings or people sort of ignoring, but yeah, the clap of hooves follow you. And your name, Bunhole Steve, you are a satyr man. What is your class? Man.
Oh, I'm a bard.
There you
I looked.
So,
It's an open note test.
along with the three of you, there is one, even to you, Annis, this is a smaller figure. Drew, could you please describe your character?
Yeah, so I would imagine like up towards like the top of a dimly lit chimney, there stands this little old woman. The best I can describe is think of like Madame Foster from Foster's Home. A big old bun on the top of her head, big old circle glasses. She has like these squinted eyes behind these glasses with a wrinkled old face. She carries with her a gnarled wooden cane that she slowly just pushes away paper lanterns that come near her face as she doesn't like it. But she tends to stay more towards the shadows area.
And I can imagine with these like big kind of circular frames in the cinematic moment as it's panning across all of you and then kind of comes to a blank space and pans down, there's this kind of reflection of this aura in the background, kind of sun setting through the mist. As you all walk in the snap.
Name.
Please. Oh yeah, please, Drew, what is her name?
Her name is Baba Inu,
And she is a
shadow monk.
shadow monk gnome, correct?
Correct.
I love two gnomes.
I don't
Yeah.
know, gnomes. And everybody has a last name.
And yet again, I'm the tallest character. Why does that always happen? I made
Right.
myself a little short too. I'm 5'9" and I'm still taller than everyone.
Oh, that is
By a
so
lot.
Actually, I ended
Actually,
up.
with
I
my
don't think it'll
horns, I may be the
focus.
same.
But there's a little Baba Inu.
I'm so height with the bun.
Okay.
So not
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
He's got the height with the bun for sure.
When
That's
asked,
third.
it's measured from the bun. So as you all walk, I probably should have been doing this during this conversation. Let me just pull up something a little bit more appropriate here. As you guys walk, the sky dock is visible, although it is still a couple hundred feet ahead of you and across a number of paths. Is there anything that you all wish to do before you proceed to the place that you were asked to meet this Rider of Gallvaney?
I can't think of anything. I
Okay.
sort of, in the way that the DM is like the Sims player,
You're
Yeah.
standing around.
I'm standing around and that question pops into my queue of thoughts, and then I sort of pat my my pockets and yeah, got everything. I locked the store, put up the sign. We're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The four of you proceed without issue, kind of moving past. You can see the preparations taking place and smell the various smells of the kind of festival food. You would know the smell of roasting sunflower seed kind of hanging heavy in the air, various seasonings being added as you are buying them. The sunflower being one of the sort of symbols of this day like festival. You can see various little bits of decorations and signs of shops closed early, similar to yours, Selwyn. But as you progress, you get to this sort of stone staircase. It rises about 20 feet, various steps, and then branches out. These platforms, maybe 10 feet wide, very small, but beset with benches. You can see wooden barrels meant for trash. And if you wish, you can walk up this staircase, maybe 100 feet long, rising up and with the mist, becoming kind of hard to see towards the top. But up there lay the sky dock.
Is there one of the vendors around that I could just get one of the sun up sausages?
Yeah, pretty much. And so, like, at this point, you do, like, if you just kind of close your eyes and listen, you can hear the sound of hawkers off in the distance.
Right.
No problem. You see kind of like an older human man, balding, one of those chimney sweep style hats kind of on, sitting
Okay.
there with a cart, and you see a whole bunch of these beef sausages kind of on sticks.
Uh-huh. And they're like, ah, yes, have to partake in the festivities, right? Right, everyone? I just kind of like look around, like with a very like mildly emotive but not super expressive face, like, yeah, this is what we do during this time.
Sure.
And I'll just walk up and, hello, good sir. May I procure one of the sausages, please?
He looks up at you and smiles, this kind of bald. He looks a little bit like a taller Danny DeVito. But he looks up and says, oh, yeah, you want an L steak? I can do that for you. You want it sun up or down?
Sun up, please. Thank you.
No problem. I got you. He pulls off one of these sausages. You see this kind of crispy batter, and as he hands it to you, almost like this ale scent that wafts off of it. It's still hot. When you take it, he plops on top of this sort of crispy onion strings. It's a steam rising and intermingling with the mist. All of you can smell pungent in this air.
Perfect.
A fried
onion
egg
to my lack of charisma.
A freshly fried egg is pulled off of a griddle over this kind of very low open flame. And what is known as gold sauce, but what is essentially a hollandaise, just a little bit simpler, just hits across it. You can see bits already just kind of begin to drip down and onto the cobblestones. But he hands it to you. That'll be 1 copper.
Absolutely. And here you are. And I hand him a copper.
He takes it. Thank you very much. Your friends want anything?
I turn and just sort of look at you guys.
Nope.
Yeah, sure. Take it too.
All right. My friend here would like one as well.
All right. One for the goat person. Grabs it up. You want it up or down?
Down.
Pulls it up. I like you. Scoops up these caramelized shallots, kind of.
I don't think he likes onions.
Pulls it away. You don't like onions? Why'd you ask for it down? I mean.
I like onions.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake.
All right. Pulls out these. It's like a caramelized shallot scoop and just slaps it on top of this. You see like a metal tube and like a toothpaste tube. He squirts like a brown sort of paste, which you smell instantly the aroma of vanilla. And then takes a ladle from this pot and pulls out these poached pears, the liquid dripping down through the slots, and places that gently on top and offers it to you. That'll be a copper piece as well.
Click it. Ding!
Has to kind of like bobble it and catches it. Thank you, I guess. What about the kids? Kind of looks down. Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I didn't. You look so young, it was hard to kind of tell. Turns to you. It's going to take a second to get all the names
Baba
right.
Inu or
Baba Inu.
Anis? Anis?
Baba Inu.
Anise.
Anis.
Baba, she kind of waddles up a little bit. She looks over at Selwyn. She opens her mouth a little bit, and all you see are just the 2 little, very worn down nubs. Everything else is just nothing but gum. Can't chew.
Oh, well, sorry about that. I can get you like a cup of onions. You want that?
Nope.
Okay.
And
Well,
Baba just like kind of like trouts off along.
And the bun is just like.
the last thing to disappear into the mist is the bun. He kind of looks and follows before turning to you, Anise. What about you?
Nope. I'm good.
Well, I'm not going to try to persuade you. Go ahead. And he kind of backs off. He gives you a wide berth. Even you just kind of looking at him, you can see it bothers him a little bit. There is a presence to this small gnome. But you...
I would argue I'm just like not privy to any of that.
Sure.
Like that, all those interactions that are a little weird. I'm just like, the sausage is delicious.
I
Fantastic. Bunghole Steve just like breathing in the drama of this moment. But now, with food or without, you progress up into this sort of staircase, rising step by step. It does get a little bit colder, and the wind, interestingly, dies down. As you get to the top of this place, you see 2 figures about 45 feet away from you. One of them kneeling, the other standing. You see one of them, clearly the rider that you were supposed to meet, as they are wearing this sort of half cloak of autumn leaf orange with a thin silver thread that embroiders the areas that rest across the shoulders to feature across almost like the profile of horses, like pauldrons almost. You can see this individual standing. They do have a crossbow on their back, although you can see one hand in a sling. They do wear leather armor and the aforementioned uniform. The kneeling figure is one that to you, Baba Inu, is particularly interesting. They wear this kind of bright red coat, a very strange red, almost pilgrim-style hat with a silver buckle. You can see a silvered sword on his back. There is a sheath, but you can see through the kind of tip of it, this glint that is unmistakable. This is somebody that you've heard a little bit about. But as they kneel and kind of look down, you can see the head turn, and that figure too stands. Would you guys like to approach?
Well, from a distance, I would say Baba. She adjusts her glasses, and it'd be, at this point, you could probably see the one defining trait that would like signify she's anything other than a gnome is these large black beady eyes as she like focuses to look, and then she just goes back into a squint after she adjusts her glasses. And she'll start approaching.
You all cross the sky dock. This, looking down on either side, it is quite a fall, generally to the water, but some of it rises over the docks and wharfs beneath. An area called the Lungs of Dungannon, as the trade that comes into this place really is what breathes life into the city. But the first figure, the one wearing this kind of orange cloak, raises a hand to you, the one not in the sling. Howdy. Come on over. You guys
Walk on over.
walk on over. The other figure, his head turned, kind of turns back and continues looking down. But this figure, you can see blonde hair, this mustache that kind of comes down to a very strange beard. It just kind of crests over the top of the chin. The entire throat and lower part is just completely bare. Really thick mutton chops. You can see these bushy blonde eyebrows and these kind of squinting brown eyes. He does pause for a second on, I would say, you, Bunghole Steve. Almost like a moment of recognition, but not quite sure. And then he's going to kind of nod to all of you. You must be the people that we sent for. Pleasure to meet all of you. I'm a Rider of Gallvaney in these parts. My name is Sir Constance Earlmott. You can call me Constance if you want. Come on over. Let me show you the situation.
How are his shoes?
Looking down at Sir Constance Earlmott, actually, where do I have him? Somewhere around here. He's not wearing shoes per se. Interestingly enough, this is a red enameled, kind of like a plate mail boot.
Okay.
That passes.
It's fine, but it's also not in the wheelhouse of things that I would have
The
remarks
tips,
for.
the tips of the toes, if it matters, are silvered.
Okay.
But if this matters to you as well, the other figure, you
It'll
can
matter
see
to
the
my
red,
work later when I'm not playing the, when I go back to my store after all this.
of course. The other figure, his shoes would draw your attention. They are this kind of red leather, almost like a cowboy boot in terms of the height and shape. You can see there is no decorations, there is no patterns. It's very simple looking, but there isn't a stitch out of place, and something about it, it's just this perfect boot. But
Give a little whistle and say, "Nice shoes, friend."
the figure nods. You don't really hear much of a response, kind of a grunt. But the one that has kind of addressed all of you gestures over the side that this other figure is looking over. So beneath this part, we have the ship that we're trying to figure out a little bit of a hostage situation. How much do you all know?
I don't think I know anything about this.
Kind of casts a glance at all of you.
Would any of us? Would I know?
Probably not. No, you would have
Yeah.
just known that you're going to get paid
Yeah.
a very decent amount to be doing this. All right. Well, the situation's like this. Below us is the Deckverse Vort, which I guess is Elvish for the dreaded word. It's an Elvish ship from across the way, crew of about 7, as far as we can tell. They have 4 captives, including one of the nobles from the Congress of Nobles. You, Satyr, I kind of recognize you from around, I think. You might know this individual,
Around here.
part of the Congress, a Lord Danby. He makes a lot of money and helps the city out quite a bit. And this is kind of a delicate situation. You need to see him, and of course the other captives brought to safety. The primary mission here is to rescue them. How you deal with the pirates, very much up to you. Any questions?
So far.
What do you know about this this vessel? Kind of, what's the layout? Do you know anything about the ship?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to current events. It's been a little bit busy around these parts. Wasn't able to pull up a manifest on this vessel, especially because it's a pirate ship. But it does have unusual armaments and gestures. For anybody who wants, you can make a perception check to kind of look over the side.
And as well.
Yeah, go for it.
100%.
Blood
So
dice,
maybe we'll
go.
as well. I got a 14.
Perception is plus
Well-
2, so 15.
15, 12, 14, 15. Nice little range.
17.
17. Okay.
Alright. That's a decent
Look-
spread.
Yeah. You can look down about 45 feet beneath you, and maybe 20 feet off the closest rigging to it from the sky wharf that you are on. You see this ship with a really strange. I'm thinking about your backgrounds real quick. Bunhole Steve. Of all of you, you and probably you, Annis Ironfoot, are familiar with this kind of ship. These are created across the ocean on Everest. Across the Emerald Expanse, these are Expanse clippers. The Finger Gang did encounter one across the ocean near Biss, one that was called the Taladrassi, which you promptly sank. But this ship, it has kind of a curved front that hooks over top, providing cover. You can see on its deck up near the back of the ship where there is the wheel and this kind of smaller mast, there is a sort of what looks like a very large harpoon. But on the gun deck, kind of the middle of the ship, you can see 3 cannons that come out of the side. Very peculiar looking. They don't look as if they could fit a cannonball, at least not a traditional one. This is not something standard to this kind of ship. And the ship itself is not a standard ship. The hull is painted stripes of purple and burgundy. And you see the sail, just kind of a standard canvas affair, but there is something furled up, and you would note the color, maybe a gray-black. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Movement.
I guess just from this vantage point, just various points of egress into the ship.
Sure. And as for you, with the 17, you do notice there is one figure kind of peering out from this sort of lower stairway. And actually, because you guys are taking a look at it overhead, let me post a picture of the ship. I'll put this in one-shot planning, and if somebody could put this in the Twitch chat, I would appreciate that. But you look down and can see on the eastern side of this picture, there's a stairway that goes down to below decks. Anise, with that, you see one figure kind of peering, maybe a sentry. It is this big, brawny human. You can see kind of squinting through the mist. Glinting, you can see the facial, it's called the zygomatic process. The cheek, that's what it's called, seems to be pierced in several places. You see like a glint of gold that kind of travels almost the distance of the face. But just for a moment, this kind of sentry, and then they seem to withdraw.
Back down underneath, or just further away on the deck?
Appeared to be back down underneath.
Okay.
Looking for points of egress, I would say you can see what is in that picture, but you would notice on the east side of that map, there's a staircase that goes down, and then in the center of the ship, these are 2 large iron or steel doors. They look as if they probably slide to the sides on tracks. They go a little bit to the left and right, and then would slide forward and back. This is probably how cargo is lowered down. Additionally, beneath that sort of wheel that you can see on the western side, there is a doorway that goes to what you could assume would be quarters or meeting spaces, some kind of an interior. You do see there are windows.
Okay. I take that all in.
So do any of you have any kind of plan or an idea as to what to do about this? I mean, I'd love to help you out, but kind of raises up this arm. Does anybody have proficiency in medicine? Nobody takes proficiency in medicine.
Why would they?
His hand looks a little jacked up. I found myself a little bit short-handed, no pun intended, so I'm going to be sitting this one out. I'm going to observe from here, and if you do need anything, I'll do my best to call for reinforcements, but he kind of looks at all of you, especially settling on you, Ennis. We're clearly short-handed as it is, so kind of all we got. Go ahead.
Do you know any of the like who the captain is and how long you've been here?
I know a little bit about the captain.
Yeah, there's a captain pirate captain.
There is a pirate captain, yeah. It's a Tessazara. I think a mountain elf, not actually from Everest, so it's interesting that she's been running this crew, but she uses a kind of weapon that we don't necessarily understand. Similar to what the dwarves and Stoneflow are using, but arcane based. Outside of that, they pulled in, I guess you wouldn't know what time it is, earlier this morning.
Thoughts?
And with the ship, what kind of lighting is on the ship? Like, is it in kind of dimmer light or is it just lit up?
You have dark vision 60, correct?
I do.
As you look down, the ship is about 45 feet beneath you, so you can see down the stairs. It is dimly lit to dark below that.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, what would you all like to do? The sun is beginning to get a little bit closer to the horizon. The watercolors of almost like red and orange and yellow kind of streaming into the mist.
Is it on a dock or is it just like moored in the harbor?
It's moored in the harbor, but probably about no more than 30 feet off of like a dock proper.
Okay. Well, how would you guys like to approach this? Just, by water? I've seen some people float before. Are any of you capable of that?
I don't float. I sink pretty aggressively, actually.
Right, same.
I just walk across the water.
You,
He looks down.
Wonderful.
Little tiny little gnome. I'm sorry. Did you say you walk across water?
I can walk on the water. I sure can.
All right. That's pretty odd.
Can she do like a little backflip just to show she may be old, but she is agile?
You can certainly try. Make an acrobatics check.
I could walk across water. Whoop.
So you can see the eyebrow raises, and he kind of said, "Well, that's interesting."
So acrobatics is a +9. I rolled a 16, so 16 plus 9.
20.
Yeah,
25.
yeah.
For all of you, there is no warning. You don't see the muscles tense. You don't see any kind of preparation. But light as a feather, you watch as Baba Inu hops with one toe kind of propelling you over and landing almost without a sound. The mist around you swirls. You see him kind of blink and start back, the hand kind of rising instinctively towards the crossbow before being kind of bound by this cast.
I'm gonna like my reaction is like, don't fall, practical woman.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that from him too. But he kind of leans forwards. Damn, you're pretty spry for an older woman, if you don't mind me saying so.
The hip still hurts, but I'm still good to go.
Make a just flat charisma check, please.
+2, so that's a 9.
9. The aches and pains are part in being alive, and it just shows that you're just like all of us. At that, I would say, Baba, you would actually hear just this small kind of exhalation from this figure that kneels. He stands at this point. You can see turning around, dark features. The eyes brown, although there are, as he turns, you can almost swear this color shift, these flecks of red. But he turns to all of you. Whatever it is that you all decide to do, you should do it quickly. When sundown occurs, things are going to get a lot more interesting.
slap my belly. Let's get the show on the road.
All right. Do we have means of accessing this vessel, either from up here or from the shore?
I mean, I can part the water, but that's not going to be subtle.
No.
You can see this guy
No.
again. It's like, I'm sorry. So far over the course
Can you
of the last
backflip
few-
as well?
No, what do you think I am?
I'm sorry. I was mistaken. I did not know if that was a custom to prove that you could do something.
I mean, if you
Excuse me?
want
As
to.
the other
Will,
one
can you not
said
backflip?
that she could walk on water and then backflipped. And
Oh.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Here's the chaos. I was about to say, everybody we've hired up until recently has been kind of just like a chaotic brigand. Here it is. So, you can part water. He kind of leans into you, Annie's.
Yeah, I can make it do all sorts of things if I wanted to.
I mean, that seems like a pretty good in.
Can't walk on it
Seems-
though.
Right.
I like this one. She's gonna boop you on the head with the cane. No one expects the elderly Inquisition.
You see the rider, whose name I think he gave it to you, but I can't remember now. It was Constance Earlmont. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to call him Earlmont from here on out. You can see Earlmont just kind of put his hand in his head. All right, well, I'm actually going to go and see if I could round up any more help, because I think we're probably going to need it. But if you need anything, I'm sure kind of gestures, and the other figure dressed in red nods. You can call me Arquinth.
Argwin, you seemed to know a fair amount. You insinuated a little. What are the crew like, and how many are there? If you could, I don't know, say you have seen them at all.
Actually, I feel like I always get to make you roll things that you're not good at, Miles.
That's fine.
Can you go ahead and make an insight check.
He actually does have that because
Really?
he's a sailor, I think,
Ah,
background. That sort of he's into it. Well, that's a 17. Not bad.
17. Okay.
I haven't figured out how to be people yet, but I kind of understand people.
Sure. And that's half the battle. Knowing is half the
Yeah.
battle. All right. So, I'm going to say with that roll, there is, as this conversation is occurring, you're noticing that this figure, dressed in red, who
Argwin,
I
you
don't
said?
remember, is Arcwenth. So Arcwenth.
Argwin. Okay.
You notice that his eyes do kind of linger on this elderly gnome in your presence every now and then. But he says, the crew is not my concern. I've been tracking the cargo. There is a sarcophagus or coffin in the hold. That is what I'm after.
You
Ah.
probably watch as Baba Inu is walking away. She like stops on one foot, stops, and then like twirls around and
A sarcophagus. Right. Okay. Should the crew be dealt with, I assume that the local authorities would need to figure out what to do with the, ship and its contents.
My partner is dealing with the person who ordered its transfer.
I don't know what to do with this information. That is interesting. I'm just like looking at anyone else to be like, I usually don't lead these things. I usually don't talk a lot.
Brian?
What?
I'm asking the guy, like, who you work for? Is it Brian from, over there?
Make a persuasion check.
Brian from over there.
yes, Brian.
I got Brian. It's not Brian.
Sorry, piece of paper. That's
Oh, wait, no.
That's
Because it's 10.
still not
So
bad.
it's-
What was it? Okay, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, she accidentally Morrowinded this guy's social skills.
His eyes narrow a little bit. No, I do not work for the Gallvaney Riders. Brian is their dispatch today. I work for the Bloodroot Sanctuary.
There's good jobs in that field too. Yeah.
A manner of speaking. It isn't for everybody.
Yeah. What is? All right.
Yes,
All right.
You should all be going.
indeed.
I agree.
And I'll turn around and be like, let's find a boat and get it there quickly.
Nah, I can do better.
What did you say?
I can do better.
Okay. Show us what you got, as they say.
I'm gonna make my way down to the dock, but I want to do so stealthily.
Okay, make a stealth check. Oh no.
22.
And you do so. You walk in, and in this urban environment, your stealth is less about sticking to the shadows and more about becoming part of the crowd. And for you, the vertically challenged gnome, no problem. You disappear really easily. You blend in and kind of follow the flow of the traffic and make your way down to the docks. What are you looking to do?
I'm going to cast Wall of Force horizontally, and we're gonna walk
Okay.
across that to the boat.
Okay.
Just build a bridge.
Interesting idea. I gotta Google something real quick.
I feel like I wouldn't know where you went first of all, and then there would just be like this.
Like, I'm doing this in a
Magical.
way so, like, you can still catch glimpses of the cloak through the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, so here and there, you see it fluttering through the mist. Okay, so yeah, you can lay it down as these
Yes, I
like
can.
10 by 10 panels.
Yes, I
So no
can.
problem. Yeah, you can build this deck. For all of you, as you watch, you don't see, for like an instant, you actually lose Anise. You look around trying to find a glimpse of this cloak, and suddenly you hear murmuring because off to your right, off into the water, you see suddenly an area where the water, like section by section, just flattens a little bit and rises around an invisible panel, almost floating on the water surface. Here and there, little droplets splash up as the waves lap against it, and you see these beads of water across air and then back into the other side. You now have a pathway straight to the ship.
Okay. No fuss, no muss.
There you go.
Crossing over.
Are we all heading there right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll tenderly, I suppose, just like trying my hardest not to get my shoes wet.
Okay.
Just like,
Nick-
and I'll just
Make
try
a
to
dexterity
dance
saving
across.
throw.
Yeah, gladly.
Well, before you make that throw, Baba Inu is gonna try and like crawl up on your clothes, as she doesn't necessarily want to get wet.
My dear. Oh, goodness.
And she just like kind of perches on your shoulder.
Certainly. What I say you would notice though is that like this dude is like incredibly toned and like I don't know. It's like
So she checks you out.
no, well not like oh hey what's up, but it's like
Just like,
the fitting clothes like belie the strength and nimble stature behind it, if you will.
Sure.
So let me roll my dex save.
Okay.
are you
This is
flexible?
important. Yeah, I told you
wait.
this is fantasy. I'm a human male who is in good health and great shape.
Is Baba Inu scaling you as you do this?
Not yet. No. As soon as you started to do that, I would stop and be like, "Well, let me get my balance."
So go ahead and make your. It won't be a dexterity saving throw then. So this can be an acrobatics or athletics check, your choice.
Athletics, absolutely.
There you go.
All right, 18.
18. You take an unsteady step onto this wall of force, not really sure what to expect. You've walked on docks before, and they do have a little bit of give. This doesn't. This is like stone, an unnervingly flat stone, but easy to walk on, and no problem. You can walk across.
All right, young lady, let's get going. I'm trying to be charming.
This little gnome scales
Shit, Baba likes.
scales you, kind of like pulling up. saying "Baba likes" as she goes up and kind of are you perching on his shoulder like a parrot, or what's this?
Not like kind of like just
Yoda
like arms
backpack?
up on the shoulder, but like legs dangling off the back.
Fantastic.
I feel like
So-
your weight probably wouldn't be that different than another claymore or something, right?
No, she would be the light.
Baba, you wrap a hand along the claymore's handle and kind of cling onto the shoulder. You have a higher vantage point. You watch as Sullen walks across this invisible place, the water that splashes with each wave, not quite touching the boots as he manages to step over or around. You can see droplets of water as they hit, floating across, and very nimble as your companion, even with this gnome on top of them. The rest of you, is there anything special you want to do, or do you just want to walk? Just want to check for one.
I'm still going to be like walking. I'm going to be walking behind them and just like
Ready to
they're
catch.
taking their first steps, and you don't want them to fall. I'm kind of doing that behind.
So
But you're
Bunghole
just like-
Steve taking the help action repeatedly as you go. And then amongst this chaos, Anise, what are you doing?
I'm just walking, leading the way.
There you go. Like a regular person, you walk.
Yeah.
You follow your small gnome companion, two stacked, and then Bunghole Steve behind. As you approach, you can see on the secondary deck there are a few very, very small windows, and there is gaps between these cannons. You get to within maybe 10 feet, and you can hear from within this. Let me pick out a guy that I want to be here. You hear a very peculiar voice. I'll say, anybody here have the passive above 16? Ooh,
Negative.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your passive?
17.
17. Okay. So you're wizard. You get the sense that this is coming from behind one of these cannons. You can see protruding from the hull. Squinting your eyes, and as low as you are, you can see up and into it. There is this very large, heavy-set orc who bellows this out, kind of keeping an eye. I don't know if this voice is a different one for me. Halt! Who goes there? Denise, are you stopping or do you
That's
continue?
I'm continuing because I just feel hidden.
Halt or have to fire the cannons!
Whoa, hey! It's just me, the entertainment. Didn't you hear about the festival?
And you can see you just turning around for a second. Make a deception check.
About how far away are we from the
23.
ship?
Only about 10 feet. Well, you have Anise about 10 feet away, and then you guys would be maybe 15 feet. That was a 23. I didn't know Tescott Entertainment. 1 second. And you can just hear footsteps go away. For a moment, you are unobserved. What would you like to do?
Baba's
He's
gonna
gonna-
slide down the back of Solomon a little bit, and then use Shadow Step, and then appear standing like horizontally on the wall of the ship.
So Baba Inu, you watch the hand kind of release a little bit. You slide down the claymore, and before you drop off, it just disappears. And then suddenly, horizontally standing, the bun, Baba, a little bit to the side, is
Oh.
Baba Inu.
My goodness. That certainly is entertaining.
Didn't want to get wet.
Yes, right. Yes, and I sort of nudge Bunghole.
So,
Very good one, Steve. And I nod.
thank you.
Yeah, that might get us on the ship.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the point, buddy. Yeah.
So the wall of force brings you straight up to the side of the ship. How would you like to climb the 15 feet up to the first deck?
Is there a ladder?
No, you made a wall of force to the side of the ship.
You mean they don't have a rope ladder in case
I
it
just
falls off
watched
the
it.
side?
Not lower.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump.
You're gonna jump 15 feet.
Oh yeah, with the satyr feature?
Yeah.
There There we go. Okay, so what is the feature? Could you read it?
Yeah. Where'd it go?
It's probably behind.
Sorry, excuse me. No, wait, I'm sorry, what's normal jump? I can just add to a jump.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay. So your normal jump.
My paper. Oh, it's on the ground.
There you go. That's a good one.
Found it, guys. Perception.
So if you get a 10-foot running start, you're able to jump 3 feet plus your strength modifier, basically, or half
Okay,
as much if you're going to do a standing jump.
I'll give it a shot with a running jump, and I roll to add to it.
Okay.
While he's midair, can Baba just like slowly like saunter up to one of the ladders to pull it down?
Yeah, absolutely. So you begin to walk. Bunghole Steve, roll for your jump.
So yeah, I did not make it.
What was the roll?
I made it 9 feet.
You hear clop, 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 and then this jump. And as you jump, your hooves scrape on this invisible, fairly frictionless surface. You leap and go about 9 feet. You know you're not going to make it. You start like cartwheeling, and there is a whoop as you slide down, kind of landing on the wall of force. However, as that happens, you can kind of hear the footsteps of Baba Inu above, and looking up this rope ladder kind of unfurls down.
Climbing the
At the
rope
same
ladder.
time, on the inside, you can just hear distantly, Bunghole Steve, "Well, stop yelling at me! I didn't know!" You hear footsteps beginning to approach.
Let's climb up.
Climbing the ladder.
I'll go help Steve up.
All right. So you
Good
climb
try.
up slowly.
Very good try.
Baba Inu,
God,
you're
don't
at the top,
belittle me.
basically on deck, and so you're the first person who is able to kind of see what is happening here. The ship, this beautiful, almost like pale kind of birchwood. You can see these small, thin green seams in the wood itself that seems at once alive, but also very much kind of statically frozen. There are 2 masts which rise up, the main one to like a large triangular sail. The other one has something furled near the top. The stairway from where you are is about 20 feet diagonal. You can see the steel doors, large, 10 by 15, that go down into the cargo hold. There's a doorway on the western side of the ship. And there are 2 stairways that go up to a harpoon and the wheel that you can see kind of just above. The rest of you, one by one, make your way. And as soon as the last of you, who I believe would probably be Bunghole Steve, helped by you, Solon, you hear Bunghole Steve, the footsteps kind of come to the bottom where that cannon is directly beneath you. "There isn't any itch! Hello?" And you hear, "Guys, I think they're aboard!" And you hear more noise. What would you guys all like to do?
Finding a place to hide.
A place to hide? Make a stealth check. The rest of you.
Entertainment, you said. What if it's complimentary to all ships in the harbor at this time of year?
Yeah.
They don't seem to be from around here. They may not know. I'm gonna nod.
But then I thought you were at first.
For sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like that wasn't entirely a compliment, but thank you.
You're welcome.
It was close enough. And I feel like, sometimes you just have to take what you can get. So,
It was a 26, by the way.
26. Is anybody else trying to hide?
Baba will lean over the edge, look for any dimly lit space that's maybe behind like a barrel or something, and just reappear by the barrel.
So you can see on the western side, on the western side of the ship, where there is a doorway that goes into maybe cabins, there are staircases that kind of go up and into the wood. The walls that go into the doorway curve, almost like the wood is hugging outward. You can hide in the shadows there, no problem. So you watch as all of a sudden Baba Inu kind of peeks over, just the spectacles glinting, and then the snake of shadow darts over and reappears, the corporal form of Baba Inu, now standing roughly 40 feet away. That is the 2 of you. Bunghole Steve, what are you doing?
I'm bringing out my instrument and getting ready.
Fantastic. Sullivan?
Seeing that the other two disappeared, so not seeing them, I guess.
Yep.
And seeing that the thing that Steve said seemed like the best idea, I'll just get ready to dance. Like, I'll do some sword play dancing or something.
Hope you have your dancing shoes on.
Fantastic.
These certainly do help with that, yes.
This has gone in no way like I thought it would, but in many ways significantly better than I
Wonderful.
ever could have hoped.
Well, fuck murder hoboing. I'm over that shit.
A couple of seconds go by, you hear a rush at the stairs, and suddenly a number of these piratey looking individuals appear. You see this dwarf who kind of unsteady on his feet, looks kind of drunk, bleary-eyed, but staggers up first. You see he's holding what looks like a crossbow that's loaded, although do any of you use bows?
I do.
You do? It's loaded incorrectly. It's not going to work. You see this big, brawny human who has a scimitar. You see a human wood who has a sword, and to you, Bunghole Steve, seems familiar in a way. Kind of similar in terms of the way that they hold themselves. There is another human that kind of trails them. You see the source of this voice, a bulbous orc, no armor, just wearing pants, and has a huge piece of wood in his hands. And then at the very back of all of them, kind of peeking up, you see a goblin, still staying in the dark of the stairs. And
Not any of our goblins. New goblin.
You have no idea at this point. So,
Oh.
for all of you, they kind of stop, bumping into each other a little bit, seeing the satyr with an instrument and a very well-dressed human, apparently ready to dance. As you see them coming, is there anything that you're doing before we roll for initiative?
Howdy. What? What do you... Wait, so how many are there?
6 that you can see.
Ah, sucky. Can I recognize any of them being Artez Azara? Any of them look extra captain-y?
Extra captain-y? Okay, make a perception check. That's what we'd like to use these moments before to do.
Wait. So that's a 11.
An 11? No,
Yeah.
They look pretty piratey. So, if there is nothing else that you would all wish to do, please roll for
Can I talk to them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what
Okay.
that would be a thing.
You're like,
Entertainer.
you're confusing me.
You asked me for help on spells, and I gave you one, and you were like, I don't know what that means. So, okay.
For one dude. So, anywho's in. So, welcome, friends. I am Bunghole Steve from your local tavern. I'm just gonna name a tavern. Bunghole Tavern from Dungannon. Welcome to the festival.
So, make a performance check. Also, so you can see this group of pirates run up and kind of collide with each other. You say, howdy, welcome to the festival, and begin to perform and dance.
Is there a way that I could like aid to it? Just like a flourish of hands?
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll that at advantage as you have Solon taking the help action.
From my hiding place, can I have minor illusion, just like fireworks appear out from over his hands?
Absolutely. So
Yes.
the jazz hands, they go like this and suddenly
I'm like shocked.
yeah.
You know what? I've got the minor illusion as well. I'll help out too. There'll just be like light coming up from underneath both of them, just like ah!
Like that, like 70s disco floor lighting thing.
Okay.
It's in perfect with Baba.
And Allie, what was that roll?
That was about a 32.
So, all of a sudden, welcome to the festival, and you see this satyr begin to play an instrument. The human behind, this kind of a little bit imposing, well-dressed figure, jazz and sparkles begin to go off, and like a red light shines from underneath. all of a sudden, this bewildered group of pirates, you can see one was in the middle of saying, "Nice, I bunghole tavern," and this happens. Lights, fireworks, music. What was your roll?
32.
32. Do you just want to note too, my instrument of choice is actually like a long drinking horn that I kind of use as a flute, but attached to it is a bunch of little corks that I plug it in to actually use as a drinking horn.
So you're using
important
bungholes
to
in
know.
your instrument to make it a drink. That's
Yes.
amazing. Okay.
Like,
They're
all-
plugged up, I go, and they go, pew.
yeah, they're all like corks attached to like strings, like those little pop guns. And so when you blow out, it's like, poof, and then they're all dangling down as you're.
It is the strangest amalgamation of flute, and every now and then you hear this little as these corks just fly out and kind of dangle beneath.
I'll
jazz
add the
hands.
percussion with my feet. Sort of river dancing esque.
Sure. Make a performance check at advantage as this is all happening with the 32.
Right.
My other instrument is panpipes, but that's boring numerically. That makes
Yeah.
sense, so
Yeah.
we can't use that.
All right. So with advantage, I fortunately rolled a 19, so that's a 20.
So, dun, 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 dun. You see the wood that this orc was holding drop to the ground as he just begins to laugh, like overjoyed. A couple of the others a little annoyed, but mostly just begin to take this in. You see the scimitar tucked under the arm. This individual now, like, looking up at this, pointing up. They are enraptured by this. While there is this two-person show going on, Baba Inu and Anise, what are you doing? There are red lights kind of lighting, and it is beginning to get a little bit darker.
I'm going to keep the minor illusion fire alerts going when it seems appropriate, but I'm going to be making my way toward the door to sneak down.
Okay, make a stealth check, please. Phenomenal work, by the way. All of you.
27.
27. Baba Inu, you, for a little bit, were able to see Anise, but no longer. All of a sudden, looking around, not where you had kind of seen. You'd seen before, like the little fingers making these fireworks appear. Anise, you walk kind of sneaking amongst the barrels through this crowd. You actually just walk amongst the pirates. Is there anything that you're doing as this happens?
I'm going to pick some pockets as I go by.
Make a sleight of hand check. You hear the loud, raucous laughter, and the other person, and the goblin is the one that's kind of near the bottom, and you can see them just kind of going, "No, is anybody going to tell me? Was it Bunghole Tavern?"
32?
Is asking me? Oh, sorry. Forget.
No. So with a 32, who are you trying to pickpocket?
Anybody I pass by on the way.
As you were walking, in total, you kind of reach into pockets, and for those of you really paying attention, because you may have traveled with this person before, and realistically more from a cinematographic, because none of you noticed this. You see these little hands reaching up, and as this person laughs, claps, all of a sudden his belt just gone. His pants almost fall, and he has to stop clapping. He's holding them up, still just laughing. But you reach in, and you can see this really brawny human, just a simple kind of coin purse, and with just a motion of your hand, it just empties. And, you can add 31 gold pieces to your inventory.
Damn, rich pirates.
We'll get to that in a second. You can also see this woman who you'd seen kind of similar to Bunghole Steve in a way. You can see there are instruments attached to her. If you want, on her back, there is something similar to like a violin. You could actually take that if you would like. Additionally, she has like a little hip pouch.
I'll take the hip pouch, but I'll leave her her violin.
Take this pouch. And then finally, as you pass this goblin, kind of tugging on other people, just trying to get around because he can't see. 32?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You kind of reach into an open backpack, and you feel it's kind of gross in there. There are some weird textures, but what you pull out is a jar. And in a quick moment before it disappears into your bag, it looks like a head floats in it, a small one. But Where are you going over the course of this? You're going below deck?
I'm moving to the door to head below deck.
Okay. No problem. You just appear at the top of the stairs behind the goblin. The light's still flashing. Bunghole performing their heart out. You have the jazz hands, the best jazz hands of all time. Do you wish to go below deck?
From where I can see at the top of the stairs, does there appear to be anybody at the bottom of the stairs?
So, what you see is... Let me see if I have a picture of just the part that you see. Yes, indeed. So the way that this... I'll put it in one-shot planning. You are currently standing where those stairs in the south part of that picture are. Directly ahead of you, there is this strange armament that you are unfamiliar with. And Wing is reminiscent of a cannon, and you can tell just from the way it is, it functions as such, but there are arcane elements to it. You can see on the ground, directly in front of you, this beautiful gold line of glyphs and arcane sigils that seems to trace and connecting all of these cannons. You can see a mast. You can see there is an additional set of stairs that goes down into the cargo hold. And then further, there seems to be other stuff, but hard to see.
I want to go check out those cannons.
All right. We'll get back to that in a second. Baba Inu, while the two-person show is happening, what are you doing?
I'm not gonna lie, Baba Inu doesn't have the largest intelligence, and she's probably enamored by the show going on right now. Not usually coming out for much of anything, so she's probably still enjoying. She might even give a little clap here and there to the beat, and then she'll probably still doing some minor illusion, just keeping an eye on them, but also watching them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Not
yeah,
picking up that it's a distraction as much as in.
you never work a day in her life, right? So you really are enjoying this particular assignment. This beautiful show occurs. As you know, the 5-minute mark in this passes. Are you guys going to continue this performance? I mean, what's your plan here?
I'm gonna try to look around and see if I can see my friends and see what they're doing.
Okay.
While I'm
Make a
performing,
perception
if
check.
I can just like make some side eyes, you know.
Make a perception
Gauge
check.
the situation.
I hope it's really high so you can just see a little old lady in
It's
the
a
corner.
21.
21.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll say being part of the group, you know, you look over, you have no idea where this kind of young gnomish wizard is. You look over and you can see, obviously, Solon. You turn back, just this kind of enthusiastic look, kind of uncertain, but clapping along. And then you turn over, and over his shoulder, you see just bobbing this little thing, and looking a little bit more, you could see the clapping and the glasses, the fireworks reflected. Enjoying herself very much as Bobby. Are you doing anything with that information?
And does everyone seem to be kind of enjoying the show? Everyone else too?
You see everybody but the goblin enraptured, their eyes upcast, reflections of the lights and fireworks kind of. This is very much an audience that is captured.
Okay. And all right, so I guess I'll wrap up this first song and just be like, thank you. And in light of the celebration, Bunghole Tavern is first one's free. First one's free.
You hear, oh, he did say Bunghole Tavern. At this point, you can just hear the laughing stop from this work, and he goes, "Don't forget to tip the performers." And he reaches down. Oh, hey, somebody took my money! And suddenly there is this shink, 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 shink as blades are drawn, and at that, I need everybody to roll.
Oh, boo! We had a whole another step to this, but all right.
It was a good idea. Just the price of greed. Okay, back to the combat music after that circus interview. Whew, okay. So, pilots. Anybody with a natural 20? All right, 25 to 20.
25.
22.
5 and 22. So 25 is Denise. 22 is Baba Inu. Anybody 20 to 15?
So
Bunghole Steve at, what was that? 19?
yeah, I got 15.
Steve, 15. Oh, okay. Oh, my poor pirates. All right, so Anise, you're up first. Baba Inu, you are second, followed by Bunghole Steve, then Stolen, and then the pirates will go after that. So, Anise, all of this happening, I'm going to say you don't really hear any of this at this point, but you want to take a closer look at these cannons?
I do.
Okay. You step forward. You can hear the song building to its like finale right now. You step forward. Make an investigation check. Or what are you trying to discern about this cannon?
What's it do? How's it work? Why is it here?
Make an Arcana check.
That's a natural 20 for a 33.
You've traveled a little bit. You've never seen this directly, but you've heard of something like this. Across the way in Everest, this beautiful continent dominated by the elves, there are these things called, why is the word? Spires. These massive crystalline structures that house entire cities. And their defensive properties are powered by the gem material that creates these cities itself. Looking into these cannons and kind of peering where you would load a shell, opening this section up, you can see a glowing kind of greenish gem. And you would imagine this is related to that kind of weaponry. It seems to be almost like an arcane cannon.
Does it appear as though this crystal can be removed?
Yes,
Gem?
absolutely. You could remove the dome, sure.
I'm gonna take it.
Okay. You reach in and no problem, pluck it out, and as you do, goes dark. You can add. For now, it's gonna. Well, let's call it a power emerald.
Yeah, Sam.
And then in the break, I'll go back and I'll look at what it's actually called. But Max doesn't name it; I just don't remember it. But you close the door and you realize that there's nothing different. Like outwardly, this looks just the same as it did before. So you'd imagine it's going to take at least one shot before the person realizes that it is not moving.
Perfect. And is there a second of these down here, or is this the only one?
Right. So you are kind of what you would imagine is the front of the ship. And there is one facing forward and one on either side right here. And then another maybe 40 feet away, there are two more, one on either side.
Cool. I'm going to work on disarming all of them.
Okay. So I'm going to say for your turn, no problem. You disarm 3 of those things.
Okay.
3 up at the front. You begin moving about 30 feet towards the, or 25 feet?
25 feet.
25 feet towards the other. Anything else? Also, that's your
That's it.
action, your movement. Okay. That brings us to Baba Inu. Steve, you're on deck.
I was gonna say, can I hold my turn until after Solwyn and Bunghole? Is it possible to keep an eye on the pirates to see what the reaction is going to be?
So you can hold an action
Hold
and
an
set
action?
a condition for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So what is
then,
the...
that condition will be if the pirates attack, Baba will come flying out of the shadows and start bonking people on the head.
So you're holding the attack action. You're holding the bonk action for when the pirates attack. Fantastic.
Yeah, love that spell.
Steve, what would you like to do? Stolen, you're on deck.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna begin this with the guy who dropped trow by accident with no belt.
Okay.
Gonna viciously mock him a bit.
So from
no.
entertaining hosts to like, you fucking idiot.
Seeing stuff. Where's my tip? You a loser? You just saw that amazing performance. This is how you're gonna disrespect me?
Oh, what is this, a charisma saving throw?
Wisdom.
Okay, wisdom saving throw. What is the DC on
You
that?
come to my town. You disrespect me like this. I give you a good show on the wedding of my... No.
Steve is all of a sudden a mobster.
He's an entertainer.
17? No, that's an 11. So, what happens when he fails?
Let's see. What does happen? 3d4 psychic damage.
There's also something else, right?
No. And disadvantage on the next attack roll.
All right.
5.
Slightly below average.
5 points of psychic damage, correct?
Yeah, just a little guy.
You watch as these big, so it's an orc. It's a huge orc. And from you, Rumble Steve, probably about a foot taller. You can see weighing close to 260, 270 of muscle, and then just like a little bit of flab, But suddenly the eyebrows go down, the eyes become a little glassy, and you can he suddenly just kind of squints and goes, "It's not my fault."
Great. Action. Just, not much of a fighter, man. You're on your own.
Inspiration.
Oh.
And I'm gonna scoot
What's
5 feet away from these guys.
Okay, so you can scoot 10 feet back, and then there's the edge of the ship. So you do that?
We're not surrounded, are we?
No, they're on the other side of you. So
Yeah,
I mean, you
just go up the ship.
Oh, can I go? I can go higher?
if you wanted, so you can go to the west
So
and then
here's the
up
map.
the stairs if you would like.
So here's the map.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
You got on like right here. So you
Okay.
can just go up there.
Okay.
You tap Solwyn on the shoulder. You're on your own, and you kind of move your way over to the west. You get up the stairs, your hand on the railing.
What
anything
size
else?
are your inspiration dice?
I think it's a D8.
Okay.
What size are your inspiration dice? Yeah?
D8.
Is it?
No, D10. D10.
At level 11?
Very nice.
1, D10. Okay,
So,
thank you.
Solwyn, as Steve taps you on the shoulder and runs, it is your turn. What would you like to do? The pirates are on deck.
Literally. So I think... hey, you did that one. So who's the furthest to the right? Knowing that Steve went that way, I'm going to still try to interpose myself with the path, basically.
So
Like,
who's
should they try to
closest
chase
you?
him? Yeah.
This would be this kind of thin-looking human, kind of very rogue-looking.
Okay. I am going to pull out my claymore, and I'm going to go engage them on their, like, the side of them that would be, like in between me and where Steve went.
So in slow motion, it's like jazz hands, and suddenly knives are pulled out. And from Solon's kind of social awareness, no idea why any of this is happening, but the tone suddenly changed.
Yeah.
Claymore in your hand. And
Yeah.
people kind of stepping back a little bit because it's a large sword.
Uh-huh.
What are
So
you
I'm
doing?
gonna do. So the way that I get over there is sort of like in a dancing motion. So it's like crossing feet stepping, and then
Okay.
I'll do one final swing around right as I get to the guy's side, and I'll just try to bring it around behind him.
Okay, sure. Yeah, make your attack roll.
Okay. First of 3 is a 12. Not great.
All right. That's enough. Go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. That's 8. That's 5. That would be 14 points of slashing.
14 points of slashing. So
Uh-huh.
you step forward, your feet crossing over the other, and as he goes and he's pulling out the scimitar, your sword flicks forward and kind of hits the blade. His hand pulls away, and as it does, you slash his arm, pulls away even more. You cross around behind him. Go ahead and roll your second attack.
So going from that, what was a fool's stance, point down, hip, I'm gonna bring it up around to the roof stance, and then sort of slash downwards.
Fantastic. Make your attack roll.
Yeah, I studied German schools of ancient sword fighting for this character.
Well, I was right. You studied the
Yeah, so this is 28 to hit, which is, I mean,
that hits, yeah.
I'll just roll the damage for that one. 14. That's an 11 slashing.
An 11 slashing. All right. Hang
Yep.
on a second here. All right. So as you pull it down from, you said it was the roof stance?
Yep.
You
It's called
slash
Von Tog, but I'll do English for tonight.
He again reaches the scimitar and you slash over the top of his arm. You feel it bite deep into the actual flesh and lodge into the bone before you pull away. The arm goes instantly limp to the side, and you can see the other hand crossing over now.
And I'll do like a pullback to the ox stance and then just a jab at him for the third attack.
Fantastic.
That is. Fuck, I gotta stop rolling it into the fucking audio interface. That is 21 to hit.
21? Yeah, that
Yeah.
hits. Roll damage.
I'm a fighter. I can't do anything else good,
I
but
know.
this is. All right, 5 and 7. 13 plus 5, 18 slashing damage.
Okay, so he reaches down for his blade. Clang! You slap it out of his hand, slashing his arm. He goes for it again. Clang! You slap it out of his hand a second time, slashing the other side. The arm goes limp. He grabs the sword with his crossed hand, pulls it out, and you stab him straight through the heart. You hear it go deep. You feel it penetrate the front and the back of the armor before you put a foot in and almost like dance off of the corpse as it drops around.
I'll like pull the sword out, and with its weight, I'll spin around before the sword follows all, and I'll just sort of like bring it around, and then back down to the plow stance, which is at my hip, pointed up.
You bring it around, and kind of like this spray of blood hits the dock as you do so. Anything else?
Now, is there any movement left from where I got from the starting point to where that guy was? Do I have any
I was only
movement
10
left?
feet of movement, so you
Okay.
have a lot of it left.
I'll back up like 10 more feet, just like so I get closer to the stairs, because I know high ground is important.
You are now standing right in front of, about 10 feet in front of the stairs. You're blocking
so-
the staircase in the bottom of that picture.
Cool. So then that would be where Baba is?
You can see Baba.
I don't know that I see that. I just out of mental picturing.
No, so Baba is kind of, you would see underneath where that wheel is. There is like a negative space. Actually, I'll show you.
Oh, okay. So that's an overhang. I see. Gotcha.
Just so you have a picture of what's going to go on underneath. You wouldn't necessarily know what's inside, but I find it's helpful to look at. You can see it's like the wood comes in and hugs the door.
Okay.
Baba's
Okay, cool.
directly in front of the door with this kind of stained glass window.
Gotcha.
You are now on the southern part, kind of in front of the stairs, and then Bunghole Steve is actually climbing the stair.
Okay, perfect. So now I'm still guarding him. And that is all.
All right. That brings us to the pirate's turn, and then we are going to start at the top of the round, which is you, Anise. So, first, you can see this somewhat drunken dwarf, like surge and stagger across the deck towards you, Solwyn. He is going to let loose with this crossbow. It's going to be an automatic misfire, and
Does that trigger Baba's held action too?
yes, I am.
I don't know. I guess, does that sort of like fit in the trigger that you had in mind?
I would imagine, yeah. I mean, it's up to you, Drew, because this is not a great attack.
So, I actually might not do a turn this round because I thought of something else that I want to do, but I've already set that triggering attack. So, I have an idea for next round.
Okay, fair enough. So this individual fires the crossbow, and you watch as the bolt, not quite lodged in correctly, just spirals out and clatters and rolls onto the deck.
There's a cat fight behind Tina's head, and it's adding to the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's the crew like fighting in the background. It's all the extras that are paid just to stand on the outside of the fight and just. But okay, so he's going to go and as a bonus action reload and stay right there. This big brawny human is going to swing with their rapier also at you, Solwyn, crossing the distance.
Do they reach me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to use a reaction to do brace, which is one of my maneuvers.
Okay.
So when they move into reach, I can melee attack them, sort of like the opposite of an opportunity attack.
Absolutely. Go ahead and make your attack.
So I expend that die, so I have 5 left. It's just one attack, it's not all 3, but
Okay. Still good.
yeah, very. And because I also add my d10 to it if it hits. Which it certainly does with a 25.
That hits. Roll damage on that.
Okay. So, 21
21 points of damage.
slashing damage. Yeah, I saw it coming. My plow stance sort of like switches up to an uppercut.
Okay, so as he rushes forwards with his sword, from the plow stance, you swing up and kind of startling him, you slash across the upper thigh, part of the lower torso. It forces him to stumble back, and as he reaches forwards, a flap of his stomach just goes open. He has to hold it in with one hand, but he is still going to attack you.
Okay,
That was a 19 to hit.
that hits.
Okay. That is going to be... So from your 21 points of damage, he returns a mighty 4.
Oh!
You feel
No, my shirt! The only emotion you've ever seen out of this character so far.
A single bead of blood just kind of well up in the center.
Oh, and it's staining!
Where's the soda water?
His turn, and then we have this woman with the sword that has the instrument. So I'm gonna see if she actually recognizes. Yeah, she is going to. Bunghole Steve is doing the performance, and they kind of like Bunghole Steve. Yeah, Solomon, it's gonna be you. Go ahead and for me make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Okie dokie. That's a 9.
It's a 9, okay.
Yeah.
Just 1 second.
Rolling
here.
low on my dex stuff.
Okay, you got very lucky actually. So as she's kind of sitting there, you can see these instruments. You can see a small blade, but what she produces is this ugly cast iron barrel with a wooden stock and this strange lever at the bottom. She holds it, and you watch as this relatively small woman braces herself, presses the lever, and there is this deafening. For what it is worth, this is kind of like a buckshot-like material. You are peppered with small pellets of metal fragments. You see like little bits of nails sticking into the ground behind you.
Yeah.
However, you are only taking 5 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
As you get the lowest possible result on it.
All right, low roll for low roll. I'll
See
take
this
it.
frustrated look on her face. You can see the large orc who was a little wounded by the words of Bunghole Steve. Holding his pants with one hand is going to swing. I'll say at disadvantage because why not?
Well, it have to be anyway, because
Oh yeah, the
Vicious mockery. Yeah.
that is a 12 hit.
No.
Yeah, so you can see hits the deck, misses entirely.
Sidestep.
He is going to get one more attack. Put disadvantage as well. Even lower. How's a 7?
Well, that actually. Nada.
Takes it and then he tries to like swing it back up and stop moving. That is the pirate's turn, with the exception of the goblin. He is going to take the low deck. So behind you, Denise, you see this little goblin, fear in his face, run, kind of stop and look at you, the ears fold behind. This wasn't part of the plan. He is going to reach into his little pouch and pull out what looks like a health potion, although you'll notice the liquid inside is sort of a black. And he's going to fling it at you. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, but you need
21.
21? Yeah, that makes it. So you are going to take 9 points of damage, half to 5. It's fire, or sorry, 4. What is 4 points of fire damage.
Okay.
As the little glass bottle of oil flings end over end, and as it crashes onto the ground, you see there are elements of this kind of flint-like stone that cause a spark and a of fire to well up and a kind of gout of flame around you. You shy back, not really getting affected by it. But he sneers at you. That is the pirate's turn. That brings us to the top of the order, Anise. You look at this goblin about 15 feet behind you, around all of the cannons you just sabotaged.
Pull myself up to my full 3-4 height. Reach
Oh.
it. I know.
He's 3'3", and so he was a little taller than you, and now you go up and he kind of shrinks down a little bit.
But he'll stand on his toes and then he'll
Reach out a
stand on your
hand
toes.
which has intricate tattoos running along the back of it. Snap my fingers and I'm casting Phantasmal Killer. He needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
Oh my goodness!
All right, that's a wisdom saving throw?
Correct. It's a 17. It's a DC.
That's a failure. That's 3.
Wonderful. He, and only he, sees an illusory manifestation of his deepest fears.
Okay.
At the end of each of his turns, before the spell ends, which it lasts for a minute, he makes another wisdom saving throw and takes damage if he fails.
Okay. Does he take damage off the bat?
Not from the bat, no.
Okay. So you watch suddenly the
But
ears
he is
down.
frightened.
suddenly across these kind of dull gray pants, sun bleached, originally probably black, you see elements of like striping on them. Suddenly they get much darker across the front as the stain spreads across. The ears back, he kind of whimpers down and goes, "Oh, how'd you get out? How'd you get out?" And he just kind of begins to back away. Anything else in your turn?
No. What's it?
That brings us to Baba Inu.
You
You
all
are
3 of my friends within 30 feet of me.
One moment. So very technically, not that you know this, you are aware of where Bunghole Steve and Solvin are. They are within 15 feet of you. You don't really know where Anise is, but yes, she's within 15 feet of you below deck.
Okay, cool. I'm going to use 2 key points to cast Pass Without a Trace on all 4 of us.
Okay.
So we now all have that +10 to stealth.
Okay.
And as a bonus action, I'm going to use the Shadow Step. And I'm going to go to a different part of the ship, but just so I'm not seen and just zoom and go
Okay.
somewhere else.
So how does it look when you cast spells?
For her, especially for the Pass Without a Trace, I would imagine for all the characters affected, since she doesn't need any materials or anything for this, she's kind of like wiggles her hands a little bit, and just this almost black soot just comes off the tips of her fingers, and it'll just like sprinkle down on the characters it affects. So you have this kind of just like almost soot look around them.
So, Baba Inu, you go from just clapping and enjoying the show to all of a sudden your hands becoming much more meaningful in their motions. And as you move them together, these little shriveled hands, elements of soot begin to fall out. And before long, it's like sand pouring down between your palms. And it kind of as a wave of smoke sneaks along the floor of the deck and rises around your companions. All around, you can see these swirls of black sand or smoke swirling, and you can see pirates kind of turning and looking unsure of where to go. All of you, I believe, have +10 to stealth.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And that's concentration.
It is a concentration. That's why she's hiding somewhere else.
So now, where on the
As
ship
she moves, though, she would probably hear her say, "Amateurs."
the entirety of this place ensconced in black sand and smoke and this crazy darkness. Still, because of the length of it, there are the last fireworks going off. Where do you want to move, Baba Inu?
So currently, I am in that little nook area where it hugs. Can I go? Can I go? Let's see. Looking at the image, southeast, like maybe around the staircase and going up next to the wheel. Is that possible? Movement I can do to get up there.
Absolutely. So, in the chaos of the swirl and storm, you descend into this kind of dark form and snake up and appear. The wheel significantly higher than you, but you turn and look, and you can see Buckle Steve coming up the stairs.
Cool. And then I'll probably just use any. Actually, no, that'll be it. Yeah.
And for what it's worth, from where you are, you can see everything unfolding on the deck beneath you.
Perfect.
But Bob, you appear at the wheel. Steve, you're up. Solon, you're up. This is where you just sail away from the entire campaign that I wrote. This becomes a pirate thing.
Yeah. The Emerald Expanse sounds like a fun place to spend,
You
3
guys have done that
weeks
before.
at sea.
You guys have done that before, so I'm ready for it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So you went to the wheel?
So you
You're in
don't
the
know.
ship?
You didn't see Baba Inu. You
okay.
moved up. You saw the wheel. As you blinked and took another step, Baba Inu is now standing right there.
Just this big old shit-eating smile on her face.
Just all the gum.
Yeah.
What you doing, Bunghole Steve?
Who are you fighting?
The person that I'm foremost engaged with, I think, would be the person whose stomach is flapping open, right?
Yeah, it's this large human named Gar.
Gar Manarnar.
No one's really paying attention.
That's his full name.
Not really.
No,
I'm kind of drawing it all. Plus blocking the staircase, so like you're
Yep.
you're good on that end.
Nobody's in front of you. Yeah, everybody kind of followed someone.
All right. Well, I guess I'll help you out a little bit.
Well, thank you. I'd appreciate that. I'm surrounded by 4 left, right?
Gar, you have Patrick. Yeah. So right now, all around
3 in front
you-
of me, and then like the one in the back who shot something at me, right?
Yeah, they're a little bit ways off. They're the closest one to Bungle Steve right now.
Okay.
Shit.
What's up?
No, I just don't know what the hell to do.
It's hard when you have to cast spells.
Just vicious
there's like
mockery
some
again.
way-
That helped last time. Gave him disadvantage, and then
Okay.
look for the next turn. So
I
then
guess so. Guess I'll just I'll mock whoever's closest to me.
All right, the closest one is this woman who you saw essentially fire a shotgun at Sullivan.
All right. And did she hit?
Yeah,
Oh, damn it.
she
All
didn't.
right,
She
all
didn't do
Barely.
any damage. Yeah.
it was like scrapes. I like didn't even feel it.
Call that a shot? That's absolutely pathetic. My kid could shoot better than that at 5 years old.
It's a wisdom saving throw. That's pretty good. 17. What do they need?
17.
So it
17.
matches.
Yeah.
So with a success, nothing happens.
You succeed on the wisdom save there. Or, correct.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
She looks at you and sneers.
Sick.
I doubt a baby animal can shoot.
Oh, rude.
Anything else?
I look at her like, I am offended. That's what else.
Bonus
Are you
action, you are offended.
I'll step 10 feet to the side, like, oh my god, bitch.
Are you going towards everybody else or away
Oh,
from
hell
everybody?
no. Away from
Okay.
everyone else.
So
No.
you approach
from me.
you approach the bow of the ship, and you can see the stairs kind of right in front of you, and then you could go underneath into this kind of protected, almost like a little wooden alcove.
Cute.
Okay, that is your turn, Sullivan. You are kind of surrounded.
That's
What
fine.
do you want to do?
Swing again. I'll bring it down from the roof stance on the guy that stomach man.
Okay, yeah.
Gar. Okay, that is a 24 to hit.
24 hits.
Yeah. So that's 6 plus 5. That's 11 points of slashing damage.
11 points of slashing damage. You swing down from the roof stance as he holds his the stomach shut and together, blood pouring between the fingers. You cut down, and the hand falls away as he drops to the ground dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So from that, I'll do a. Okay. So there's 2 more directly in front of me, or is it just 1 and then 2 distance?
Correct. So there's a dwarf, and there is a this kind of injured, mostly his pride injured, large orc fighter.
Okay. Are either of them wielding? So the orc dropped the plank, right? Or did he pick it up again?
He
Okay.
dropped the plank. He's
And
holding.
then dropping plank. All right. What's the other? The dwarf wielding.
The dwarf has loaded their crossbow and is preparing to fire it.
Okay, and that's close enough that I can reach them.
Yeah, 5 feet.
Okay, but is that breaking up my attack? Because I took the attack action and then I have to do 3 in a row. Is that possible to like reach them from where I am without, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, you can certainly do that.
Okay, so I'll do that and I'll use disarming attack.
Okay. Yeah. So what is that? It's
So they DC saves strength saving throw against my 17 DC.
I mean, they rolled a 19, which brings them to a total of 19.
Oh, okay. So they succeed on that. They still take all the damage. So that's I have to hit with this first, which I think a 16, does that hit? Pretty low
16
roll.
hits, yeah.
Okay. All right, so total damage 12 plus that's 15 plus 20 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
It's because I'm using my superior, did I?
So yeah, you slash into this drunken dwarf. You can see not wearing armor. It's this white kind of blouse, open, chest hair out, like very much this dwarf was drinking previous to this. But you slash across, almost no defense. You hit him like right in the shoulder. He shies away, and one more attack.
Yep, one more, and this
There
is
you
just a
go.
regular one. I get to reroll that because of my great weapon fighting. So 17 plus 9, 26. We're gonna just go with that.
Yeah, that hits.
All right, so from that to an 8. I love great weapon fighting as my feature because I can't roll
Oh yeah, no,
low.
that's awesome.
It's fucking amazing. 8, 5, 13, 18 points of slashing damage.
Oh.
I'm just dancing
So-
across this ship, just slaying.
You slash at the crossbow, and though he's able to hold onto it, it opens his guard wide, and you just thrust right through the middle. You have to kick him off too, but he falls to the ground dead. That's 3 gone.
Okay. I'm gonna move as close as I can to the shotgun lady and away from the orc.
Okay. Close as you can to the shotgun lady and away from the orc.
Right.
This is going to draw an unarmed strike reaction attack from the orc.
Okay.
He's
That's
going
fine.
to swing with one hand. You just hear this. That's actually a 20 to hit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does.
So I believe it's a strength modifier. You take 4 points of bludgeoning damage.
That's not
But he just
bad.
kind of taps you on the shoulder as you
Yeah,
back
it's
away
just-
out of range.
A little bit of a meaty thud.
Anything else? Solon.
No. Once I got in position for this person to have to move away from me to shoot, we're good.
All right.
Oops.
That brings us to the pirate's turn. So this dwarf is dead. Gar, the brawny human, is dead. That brings us to this human woman with a shotgun. You did insult her just now. Morwen. This is going to be a
Morwen.
God. I know. Sorry.
It's been 2 years. That's fair enough.
Let me call you by your adult, your very professional bunghole Steve name. Bunghole Steve.
What
He's
was
going
that,
to take
Tina?
a shot. You're
Still
muted.
muted, I think.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
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 I'm going to take a shot with this weapon, and with this deafening, that's going to be a 24 to hit.
Two.
Sure does.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Much better this time around. That is going to be 14 points of piercing damage as this shrapnel rips into you from the side. Your satyr form peppered by little bits of metal.
One more time.
14.
14. And that brings us to this unarmed orc is going to chase after you, Sullivan.
Okay.
He's bigger than you physically.
Yes.
You feel this presence as he goes, I got you! He's going to make competing athletics checks as he attempts to grapple you from behind.
Okay. I hate that phrase, but it makes sense tactically.
He's grappling you from
All right.
behind.
That is bad roll.
Probably going to beat him.
Oh, juicy.
It's a. Oh yeah, I can add inspiration. No, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna hold on to it for
Okay.
dangerous moments. This is 15.
15, he rolled a 6. So as the arms come down around you, you move very lightly, surprisingly light on your feet, almost a dance out of range. He just closes his arms around nothing, around the mist.
Ha.
His turn.
I'll
And
say,
then-
haha, you missed, sir.
Will respond on his turn? Or it is his turn.
Yeah.
He's just going to say, why is everybody being so mean to me today? It's my birthday.
What? No, don't add that. Now I feel bad for killing him eventually.
It is going
But I
to
didn't do either. That matters.
zooming down to the bottom of the ship. This goblin kind of shrinking down, terrified. What happens on his turn?
At the end of his turn, he has to make a wisdom saving throw. He is frightened.
Okay. As he is frightened, he is going to back up 15 feet and go the remaining 10 feet up onto the deck. He emerges out in the swirl of mist. The fireworks are gone. There's this like murky darkness of like sand and smoke just in the corners and writhing around all of you. There are people
A little
dead
bit
on
of
the
gunpowder,
ground.
probably.
Yeah, there's, like, smell of gunpowder in the air, and it's chaotic. He looks around, just his eyes large and dilated. That is his turn. What is he? What happens?
He needs to make another wisdom saving throw, and whatever he sees that he fears follows him.
That's going to be a 3. You take damage on that?
He does take damage on that.
He doesn't have a lot of health.
Well, that
Seems to be a common theme here.
They're pirates.
Yeah, yeah.
25 points of psychic damage.
What? Holy shit.
You watch as he terrified this goblin.
For 10 turns.
He shrinks and turns. His eyes widen as he sees something seem to approach up the stairs. You watch as he falls to the ground, scrambles backwards. He just goes, no, and just kind of holds his hand up, and suddenly you just watch as the eyes bulge and he drops to the ground dead.
Heart attack.
A little
Damn.
bit of blood just kind of falling out of the side of the mouth.
Whoa.
That is,
Well,
phenomenal.
never gonna get to ask what his deepest fear was.
If you have to speak with dead, you certainly could. So that is the pirate's turn. That brings us back to the top of the round. Ennis, you look down. There's nobody down here with you.
I'm gonna snuggle my stuffed whale as a free action, and then go finish disarming these cannons.
So now with
Is
this,
that your focus?
Yes.
Oh my god, I love it! You're like, good job, buddy.
immediate casting, you squeeze this whale. Is there like a sound that it makes? Like, is it like
No, it's far too deflated for that. It's old, it's shabby, it's partially run down, it's sun faded, it's missing an eye, but you can still
Yeah.
see where it was.
We all had one of those.
Yeah,
I also love the idea that in private, you're like, good job, buddy.
you stow it away and you begin to progress. Where are you going?
It's also slightly too large for me, but that's the same.
Yeah,
Like a carnival fair toy.
It was designed for a medium-sized child, and I am a human, or a small-sized child.
Yeah.
so with that, where are you progressing to?
To finish disarming the last 2 cannons.
Okay, and I'm gonna say without even a roll, no problem. You just turn, walk over, pluck one, pluck the other, and close the doors.
And then begin making my way back to deal with this cluster that they have started, apparently.
Okay, you turn and begin to make your way back. That is going to be your turn. Bobby, up on the top of this deck, you watch down as Solon just rips into the pirates, cutting them up. You hear Bunghole Steve insulting somebody. What would you like to do?
Bubba says,
Shit.
"You can't eat the dreams if they're dead." And jump off the top of the balcony onto Birthday Boy, and non-lethal strikes is gonna bonk him on the head a couple times. So
Okay, make your attack roll at advantage as you are leaping from the shadows. And your Emperor Pop, shrieking old lady. Yeah.
Unlimited dream power!
it's a natural 20 on that.
Wow. Okay. So roll damage, double the die roll, and then add your modifier. That's the one thing about monks, though. Critical hits not as much damage as the other critical hits.
I think the average outweighs the occasional crit.
Yeah.
So that's 16, and that's doubled, and then plus 5, so 21 on that first hit.
This is non-lethal damage. So, Drew, tell us how it happens, because that's enough.
Yeah, no, she goes like catapulting off the top of this, just screech. "Ah!" As she just comes down with the cane, and just one big thud right on the temple, just like go to sleep. And as she lands on the ground, she just look at the other end and just.
From this moment, you can see all of the smoke and the cloud of chaos that's happened part, and you see Baba Inu in the air, like off the main deck, about 12 feet in the sky, cane overhead, the shriek coming out. You see the nubs of teeth in the light of this moment, and then brings the cane down in a single whack right on the head of this massive orc. You just hear, "What the fuck is going on?" And he just falls to the ground. Deck hard, unconscious. Bobby, you land. And in this moment, as like the sun is beginning to set and the clouds coming overhead, the thunder and lightning strikes, casting you in a silhouette, very much like the beginning of the Batman animated series. Just
Oh
this
yeah.
I
lenses,
would
except for-
imagine, the lady with the shotgun device probably would have seen this.
The lady with the shotgun device. forgot about her, but for the sake of this narrative, she is also unconscious. This is a one-shot, and because she had 7 health left. So, in
A
this
quick
moment, the
elbow
cloud-
would have been it.
yeah, the cloud just kind of dissipates,
Yeah.
and all of you now stand still somewhat chaotic in the sky above you, very much these kind of crimson red tones. You can see maybe like a quarter of the sun left, just kind of wavy in the distance over the emerald waters. But in the end of this combat, as it is 10:20, this is where we're going to take our break. We're going to step away for just a couple of minutes. Now's a great time to get a drink, get some food, use the restrooms. You'll see, I think, a little timer in the corner. When that hits 0, we'll be right back. We'll see you then. Man,
This has been a blast.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Howdy, folks, and welcome back to Adventures in Alberon, or the home of Adventures in Alberon. If you're just joining us, we are joined by Drew of Dicey Encounters for this 4-part mini-campaign entitled Bloodroot. Although, kind of a pirate campaign. We'll see how this goes. If you are just joining us after the break, to recap this group of adventurers, including... all my notes are over here. This group of adventurers, including Drew's character, Papa Inu, the Dampier gnome shadow monk, with this gnarled wooden cane and this sort of grumpiness towards light. Probably the moment of note being the leap off the top deck of the ship with a non-lethal strike on the orc below, ending combat. But nevertheless, we also have Tina playing the small, attitude big Anis Ironfoot, the gnome wizard rogue, whose spellcasting focus is a patchy, just absolutely destroyed stuffed whale that is far too large. Vague kind of piratey dress, but has disarmed all the cannons. You have Bunghole Steve, played by Ali, a satyr bard, who just kind of trying to help everybody out. Jolly face, a little bit portly, and responsible for hurting the feelings of several pirates. And then finally, we have Miles' character, Solwyn, the human cobbler / fighter. I feel like he would list cobbler first on his resume.
It's cobbler.
Yeah, 1,000%.
He picked up sword fighting out of just, something to do, and it took.
But yeah, so you have Solwyn, the cobbler and fighter, who very well dressed, although his sleeve is now slightly torn with a small dot of blood staining it. The most immaculate shoes this side of the gated marsh, and a claymore now slick with the blood of several of these pirates. You all met a couple of individuals up on the Sky Wharf, this area 45 feet above, kind of like a dock above the other docks. You met Sir Constance Earlmont, one of the Riders of Gallvaney, his hand fairly badly injured, the autumn leaf orange cloak, the silver thread embroidering the areas across the shoulders. He was the one who gave you this assignment to rescue the hostages and end or in any way that you choose, end the pirate threat. You also met Brother Harvey Artbreath, this bright red wearing, to some of you, well-known member of the Bloodroot Sanctuary. Not all of you privy to what that is. He told you that a sarcophagus or coffin was aboard this ship, and that is what he was tracking. Nevertheless, you all debated for a brief moment as to how you would reach this ship before, Anis, you created a wall of force across the water, allowing all of you to walk across with various degrees of success. You boarded the ship after Bunghole Steve convinced the single sentry that they were the entertainment for this hostage situation. Managed to get you all aboard before the pirates rushed to the deck, realizing that was probably not true. Baba Inu, you stuck to the shadows. Anis, you hit as well. But for Bunghole Steve and for
Solwyn,
I don't know. Oh, right there. Solwyn. A 2-person show was performed. As Solwyn created jazz hands in the dark, you had Anis and Baba Inu creating small light effects and fireworks that sparkled away as Bunghole Steve put forth their heart and soul in a musical performance. This managed to create somewhat of a distraction for a brief period of time, as Anis, you walked through the pirates, pickpocketing several of them, and then below decks to disarm the cannons. As your first song ended, as these pirates went to tip you, as they are, not without their manners, they discovered their money missing, which began a swirling melee that saw Solwyn carve up the vast majority of the pirates, with Baba Inu taking a close second with a leap from above, slaying the final one. Below deck, Anis, as you disarmed these cannons, you had a very brief encounter with a goblin who you pulled their fears from their consciousness into reality, at least for them, causing them to flee upstairs before dying of a heart attack. And as the chaos dies down around you, the sun setting and casting its long crimson red rays across the ocean, and the light begins to fade, You all find yourselves in a relative quiet. You can hear the unconscious orc just kind of snoring slightly on the deck. What would you all like to do?
Baba Inu is gonna just rear back and on the top of this orc's head and try and get some dreams, if at all possible.
So you see the little bun just kind of bobbing as she approaches, kind of leaning down, and it's almost like a suction cup, like a.
Like a little lamprey just.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Going his head.
with that, they are unconscious. You don't need to charm them or any of that kind of stuff. I don't remember exactly what this does, so please.
It's all flavor. It's
There
all
you go.
flavor. Nothing great from it.
So this occurs. You hear the snoring go from this kind of to this. Stop it, Grandma! And the orc kind of rolls over. But as this is happening, what are the rest of you?
I'm hating it. I'm
Okay.
hating every minute of that.
I
Free
feel-
reaction.
I'm gonna look around. I feel we should at least restrain this individual.
Oh, by the way, Ted, you did really well down there.
Thank you. Yes, your performance and lightened my heart and gave me the will to press on.
Shucks.
Yes.
I know.
So I believe we should restrain this individual if they are not dead. Maybe to take them into the authorities. Unfortunate for the rest, as it is.
You look down. There's somebody whose stomach is entirely disemboweled across the deck.
I,
Your
like,
word.
I grimace a little, being like, yeah, a little carried away.
Well, it looks like, she's got that other guy taken care of, so I'm just gonna go below deck and see what's up on this ship.
Okay. Should you have trouble, I'll be right down. I will just be helping to tie this poor soul to the mast.
Ah, be gentle on him. It's his birthday.
Right. It's his birthday. I'll use a pretty bow knot to tie him to the ship.
So you come down, pausing for a moment to look at Baba Inu, who's still just lampreyed onto this individual's head.
Excuse me. When you're finished, might I tie this? And maybe you could help me tie this man up.
You just
I
hear us
actually
like,
Okay. I'll just back up a bit.
and if you go to move him, she just like goes with it. So like,
That's it.
Yeah,
little
okay.
Remoras
Stuck
on
on.
sharks. Yeah.
I'm
She'll just go
picturing-
with them wherever.
I'll kind of like, okay then, enjoy while I take care of this, and I'll start dragging the guy over to the mast and tying him up.
The bun just flopping
So
around.
you pull, and Baba Inu goes with the body of the bun, like as you like drag it over. But yeah, you kind of like position him gingerly so that you don't whomp Baba Inu into the mast, and you begin to secure them. No problem.
Okay. Wonderful.
And he says, "All of this is happening. What are you doing?" Slightly more mission driven.
Hearing the sounds of combat stop, I assume, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Turn back around and do my best to hide and explore this lower area a little bit better.
Make a stealth check.
To be fair,
21.
concentration would still be up, so that would be a 31.
Oh yeah, that's right.
True.
Pass
You
that trace.
take this kind of stuffed whale, and you wedge yourself into the corner behind the ammunition crates next to, not ammunition crates. What are those things called? It's a crate full of rags, and I can't remember what those things are called for some reason. But you duck in behind one of those. You hold the stuffed whale in front of you, kind of like blocking you in. And then for anybody else watching, the whale just kind of pulled behind and vanishes, and there's nothing. You feel very hidden. For the rest of you, actually, as this happens and as you feel very hidden, Bunghole Steve, you turn, you take your first step towards the stairs, and your hoof slips as you step on this hand that has been cut away, and it kind of just skitters across the deck and over into the water. But you make your way downstairs, and Anise, you see this slightly perturbed-looking satyr emerge into the lower deck. It is fairly dark down here.
Around.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'll light a torch using that's it. Or is there candles? Is there like a? There must be, right? Something.
There are not, no. Very pointedly, this is, you don't see any places where there are torches suspended or anything like that.
No
Huh.
candles or anything. Okay.
Not that you can see.
Then I'll bring out a torch and I can't say this.
Just to digitate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Us
You
to
take
do-
out this torch. You cast prestidigitation, and this little flame catches and pulls into the torch. Light surrounds you, and you can see these cannon-like structures. There's a few crates scattered here and there. You don't see any individuals, but as this light does spill out and onto the stairs to the cargo hold beneath,
I am once going to use prestidigitation from where I am to snuff it.
so smoke drifts up.
It's a little drafty in here.
The fire catches. And he's snuffing it again.
No, not again. Not yet.
Hey, you guide it very carefully, making sure that the fire stays lit, and slowly it creeps across the torch and catches again. A little stale smell of smoke replaced steadily by the regular pitch smell. The light spills down into the cargo hold, and you hear a voice. Hello?
Who's that?
That's what you say?
Yeah.
Huh, you sound way more friendly than the people that were here last time. Could you help?
Sure. Alright, I'm coming downstairs. Who is it?
Clop, clop, clop. Is anybody else doing anything? You've not secured the individual.
Checking out this middle floor before progressing further down.
Okay.
Is there anything?
Are you like looking for stuff to take?
Is there anything shiny and or anything important?
Make an investigation check. Yes.
For a 28.
You walk to the back of the ship, the only part that you haven't been to yet. There are kind of out of your sight range because it is in the north part of that picture of the interior. Actually, you know what? I didn't send this to you. Let me send the back room. In one-shot planning, I'm posting a picture.
This middle one was the.
The middle one is the second deck. So that's where Anise currently is and where Bunghole Steve is descending from. In the back of the ship, past the cannons that you've disarmed, you couldn't see them previously because they're flared out and on the largest part in the rear. There are two more cannons, and you see where all of these golden lines connect. These are the only two lines still vaguely lit, and they lead to a massive, dark green crystal. It floats against these sort of copper coils that go around the bottom of it and seem to form a kind of housing.
Well, I want to disarm the two that I can. Does the big one look like it can be disarmed?
So, having done this previously, you go over to one, take the small crystal out, and the other. The last little bits of the gold writing die down, and that crystal slowly sinks until it's sitting in the housing. It's about, for what it's worth, your height. You'd imagine it weighs quite a bit, and it is secured into this sort of aperture.
Okay. I will note it then,
Okay.
and go ask for the human's help.
You kind of put your arms around it and measuring it, and you're like, yeah, no way. You turn around and continue forward. You watch the top of Bunghole Steve's head disappear below deck. Bunghole,
Balding. I imagine you use a balding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine you a little bit like Phil from the animated Hercules movie.
Correct.
I'm very Danny DeVito-esque, but like 5'5".
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Okay, so a towering Danny DeVito at 5'5".
Can I offer you an egg in these trying times?
You say as you descend the stairs. At the
I
bottom
say
of the
to the
stairs,
people downstairs.
Can you produce?
you walk into the prestidigitate an egg.
Yeah, no, just minor illusion. An egg.
You walk down to what is traditionally the cargo hold. You see a number of beds that have been secured and bolted onto the stone or onto the wood of the walls and the interior of the hall. There are no windows down here. It is quite dark. You also notice in the very middle of the room, and it's not drawn on this picture because I didn't know how long it would take you guys to get here. But
I feel like that's a first usually with us.
so, life is busy, and I had other plans. I was going to draw the sarcophagus and place it wherever it was going to be, but I didn't get around to doing that because this is a one-shot, four-shot. It's
a shotgun.
It's supposed to be more just relaxing for me. So, obviously I did very little preparation as you look at this map. But you do see in the center of the space a large wooden sarcophagus. The wood, like a muted red, and you can see a swirl of... it catches the light slightly differently, but you would recognize it as some kind of like a... I think it's called fire birch, I want to say. But it has a slight kind of red patina to it, and you can see these brass handrails that run along the side. Tied up to this casket sarcophagus combo, you can see 4 figures. 3 of them in kind of shabby clothing. One of them appears to be dressed like maybe they work at the docks. And then one individual who is in much finer dress. You can see like a pink velvet jacket that is actually almost like a halter jacket that shows off a golden shirt that tucks into golden, very tight pants that are secured around the ankles by black socks. You see somebody that none of you recognize, although I would imagine Baba Inu, Solwyn, you might recognize just in terms of reputation. This is Lord Danby, a noble, part of the Congress of Nobles here in Dungannon. Very wealthy. His father recently passed away and has left him the Danby fortune. Sullivan, you actually would know a little bit about them just because from time to time they do custom order shoes and they spend quite a bit of money. They've never ordered from you, but it is a
That's
hope.
where I'm working towards.
Yes. But yeah, you would know that they live on the Picket Hill neighborhood of Dungannon. For all of you who have played the previous Monster Island one-shot, this is the person that's on that quest.
So Baba Inu is going to detach and give him one of those grandma kisses on the forehead.
You can see like this big, like it's almost like a ring that's still present in the orc skin.
And
Cleaning my blade off in the background, just like, okay.
So if you're watching this, you would watch her flit into a little shadow, moving. So it's a move speed of 60 feet, and then she has a walking speed of 60 feet. So what I'm gonna have her do is go immediately from the orc down the staircase and then down over to Bunghole and just appear right on the outside of the torchlight and then just slowly saunter up.
So you on top, all of a sudden, into shadows on the deck floor and slithers down, disappears out of sight, and suddenly, Bunghole, you're aware of this kind of presence on your periphery, and then you see the light in the lenses as Baba Inu steps into your torchlight.
Jesus. Hi, miss.
Well,
Scared the. Well,
you see blindfolded
Everyone's
Lord
very proud of
Danby, this big smile on his face. Just who else is there?
well, I'm gonna approach them with the light so we can all be seeing each other now.
You
Hi,
pull
nice
up
to meet
and-
you. I'm Bunghole Steve.
I'll come downstairs however long that takes me.
Lord Danby, currently you see this kind of gag is down around his chin. The rest of these individuals are gagged and blindfolded. He is just blindfolded. But he has this big smile on. Oh, yeah, they're all gagged. I can't see anything. They tried to gag me too, but, I love talking. Who are you?
I'll take off all the things.
One by one, you remove the blindfolds and the gags. These people kind of startled at first, but Lord Danby just kind of enjoying all of this. Looks at you. I almost said Morwen again. Looks at you, Bunghole Steve.
Full title only.
Yeah.
No
What,
nicknames. No, just Steve.
I mean, Bunghole Steve is kind of my nickname. It's just longer. So I guess,
Pet name?
Hey, you're not a pirate. He kind of smiles and looks at you.
No,
What are
not
you
me.
doing here?
Here to rescue you guys.
Thanks. I've been asking for people to let go of me for probably about 2 hours now, and I haven't. and I'm not really used to people not doing what I say, so it's been kind of a distressing day. What's your name? It kind of begins to get up as you pull the ropes away from him.
To me?
Yeah,
Oh, I already introduced myself. I'm
Oh,
Bunghole.
that's Bunghole Steve.
Yeah.
Bunghole Steve. That's kind of an unusual name, but maybe you're from the lower Dungannon. I've never been there myself. I have people go for me.
Oh, well, you should check it out. I do weekly performances.
Oh, no. Lower Dungannon's for poor people. Thanks, guys, for rescuing me. And he kind of waits and begins to walk up the stairs. Is anybody doing anything?
Would I like
You
bump
make
into
tracks?
him at this point?
Yeah, if you're coming down the stairs, you kind of
Yeah.
see he just sort of walks and
Yeah.
looks up at you and, hi.
Ah, hello. You must be Lord Danby.
Yeah, no, that's me. My dad, I guess, is Lord Danby, but he's dead now. Kind of a bummer, but I get to be in charge, so that's good, right? I'm actually on my
say so.
way. I have places to go.
Right. We are currently moored in the harbor. I don't think you could get very far without our help. I don't believe.
He kind of peers over your shoulder. Oh, all right. Well, take me across.
Absolutely, sir. And is his clothing obviously you described it? How are his shoes?
So he's not wearing shoes. He's wearing
He's not-
silk black socks, but it appears as if his shoes have been removed.
Good sir. Have your shoes? Are they missing? Do you know if they took them? Do you need
He's
a new
not-
pair?
He suddenly, right, they took all my stuff. Oh, thanks, guy. He turns back around and walks down the stairs.
As he turns around,
The name is Solwyn Holland, sir.
So all of a sudden you see him like turn and he starts to trip. He pulls back. Oh, sorry about that, little girl. Excuse me. And he kind of just pushes
And
past.
before he pushes by, Baba's gonna just like push down on the cane, pop up eye level with this dude, give him the slightest tap on the forehead. She's checking the thickness of his skull as she pops back down, and she'll say, "Good dreamer, this one."
So you go up and pop him right in the skull. It makes a relatively hollow sound. You drop to the ground. He kind of startles back, the smile never leaving his face. Oh, what was that? He looks down at you.
You're a good dreamer. Continue on, and she'll shuffle out of the way.
Alrighty then. And he just heads down the stairs.
At this point,
And
you, Sullivan, I need your help. This way.
Yeah, is it about getting the ship to shore? I'm like saying that as I'm following you. And again, sir, the name is Solomon Howell. I run a store. Great shoe work. If you ever need it and need a new pair, and I'm just like saying that over the banister as I'm like going around back.
Called.
You're not there. They'll come up.
he
I am
turns
there.
and
We're all downstairs.
looks at you as he begins to rummage through one of these crates. And the other individuals now kind of like getting up and also looking for their belongings, presumably.
Uh-huh.
He begins to look and kind of nods his head as he does. He pulls out his shoes, which are, you can see you're unfamiliar with this material, first of all, but it looks
Okay.
like a scaly animal, although the scale's large. Each one close to 6 inches long. You've never seen anything that would possess
What the hell?
He begins
Looks
to
just like
pull it off.
pleated shoes.
Yeah, he begins to like pull it on. You can see there's like actual rose gold grommets that hold the laces into this material. But as he pulls it on, oh yeah, it's dragon scale. Pretty nice. Belonged to my dad, but pretty similar in size. Easy enough to adjust. Pulls it on. Pulls the other one on as well.
Wonderful. I would before we dock, I might like a look at those, and then I'll just go help out with Annie's.
Alrighty then, and he begins to head upstairs. But you go over with Anise to the back, and you see this massive, almost like an emerald, although darker, sitting in this kind of copper coil housing.
In
What?
looking at it, does it look like it's connected to the cannons? The way it's set up?
So the glyphs are dark, but looking at it and kind of getting down low, make an Arcana check.
$28.
You kneel down, and with your hand with the torchlight kind of flickering above on the stairs, you do see there are little symbols inscribed into the wood. It's very faint. You don't necessarily make out exactly what each one was. There isn't like a direct one-to-one translation. This is relatively inspired by the Springcourt dialect of Elvish. But you get the sense that this gem powers all of these cannons. It serves as not only the fuel source, then you look at one of the gems in your possession, this is more of like a focus. You would imagine that this arcs out acidic or poisonous damage. Kind of hard to tell what exactly.
We need to get this out of the casing.
What is it?
Bad things if we don't get it out.
Bad things. Sure, yeah. Definitely don't want any harm to come to this fair city. Let's see. I'm just gonna scan to see like what the best plan of attack would be, where it's anchored, where it's like sort of with the same mindset of taking apart like
Okay.
a shoe.
Okay.
But I also I'm familiar with ships. This is having spent some time sailing around.
Looking
I'm
at
going to
this,
say
can I
for
also
this, make a survival check
point and
Okay.
just be like, here?
with advantage.
Okay. Survival with advantage, not bad. Oh, well, the first one was a natural 20. Can I get 2 in a row? No. All right, so natural 20, 24 total.
So you look around, your eyes wander, your hands moving over it, thinking about kind of your own workmanship abilities, and then suddenly you're tugged down by Anise as she points straight to the bottom, where you can see it's almost like a like the way that you tighten a lug nut onto like a fire hydrant. That as you turn it to the right, it pulls the coils tighter. You'd imagine turning it to the left, and it would probably require a wrench or quite a strong hand, which you might be able to do. It'll make the coil expand, and you can remove this crystal.
Try to find a wrench while I see if I can just do this myself. And I'll start working on it.
Okay. Make an athletics check, and then if you want, Anise, you can make an investigation check.
I do.
Bobby, what are you doing at this time?
Realistically, staring at the other people that were bound and gagged, and probably just licking her chapped lips, just like dreams.
You see, like, they were just kind of passively going through. There's a moment where you hear this kind of dreams, and they all stop. And those of you who are not immediately looking, you hear like the rummaging get faster, like getting completely trying to get this stuff and get out of here. But sure.
But yeah, she's probably also in the corner in the darkness, also saying this as well. So out of sight now, just dream.
Just glint of fire from the torch.
There's one of those light rays that just goes above your glasses.
Yeah.
Dream.
You see somebody who is looking for stuff, just drop what she's holding, turn, and walk out the ship.
Pretty stuff. All right. 17 for the athletics.
Okay.
21 investigation.
21. So, Anne, as you digging through, you pull aside cloaks. You find empty glass bottles that seem as if maybe they at one point contained alcohol. You move things around. You pull out a wrench, and as you do, you turn over just in time to see Solwyn just manhandle this nut off. I wish I had phrased that differently. Yeah.
Well, at least it's not a thing that goes this way, so
That's
I can
true.
just do this.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's really all on the wrist. So you turn to the side, you hear the copper wiring as it stretches out, and you're able to see the gem lift slightly to the side as it's now loose in the housing.
Is there an easy way to get it out?
You could lift it.
Perfect. I just didn't know if it went floor to ceiling.
No, it is about 3 feet tall, and so without trying to heft it, you would imagine probably pretty heavy.
Okay.
But you can certainly try.
I'll give it a go.
Make an athletics check.
All right.
And as you hold up the wrench, as you see Solwyn begin to bear hug this crystal.
Hey. Sorry, athletics. 26.
You do not have a belt of stone giant strength, but
No.
Heinrich, you do not need it. You lift this thing.
That's not even my highest roll.
You can hear the wood underneath your boots actually groan with the weight. It's just, and you lift high and hold this in your hands. It feels warm to the touch. But
Okay.
it's fine.
Papa knew she liked the strength.
Light beam.
Just looking around like, where? Okay, just making sure she's not on my back again.
I'm gonna drop the wrench.
Yeah. Thank you. I thought it was gonna be tighter. This is quite heavy though. How are we getting this off the ship? I'm just gonna start like hobbling up towards the top deck.
Yeah, it just keeps squeaking with each step because like the wood is kind of bending underneath. But you can bring it up to the deck, no problem.
Yeah.
It's large gem.
Yeah. What do we do with it now? I'm just gonna drop it.
Comes to a rest, and as you drop it, you do see a lantern in the mist, and it is just dark purple in the sky. The last rays of sun withdrawing across the ocean. You see a lantern kind of floating up, and behind it, hundreds of others. Farther in the distance, the Daylight Festival beginning to kick off in earnest.
No, I'm gonna miss all the candy.
Leave
But-
it for now. I can take it back to the shore.
I really like the fact that you're just alone up on the deck and you're just like, oh man, and you just work behind you just. You see one lantern approaching across the water, and on a rowboat, kind of materializing through the mist, you see the slinged arm of this rider of Gallvaney, this one other guy, similar kind of cloak, pushing on a pole behind as they kind of make their way over to the ship. But one moment on that. Yes.
Ahoy! That's all.
Okay.
It's just I was pantomiming. Sorry.
You see, like the arm and the cast begin to come up, and you hear this kind of, the other arm come up. Anybody else doing anything before this boat arrives?
I'm going to follow Solian up, and I'm going to move to start piloting the ship back toward the harbor.
Okay, you begin to climb up the stairs towards the wheel. Bunghole Steve.
I'm gonna get to the top too and check on our orc friend.
Okay. You get up to the top. You see the orc, this bump just slowly rising off the head, this suction ring behind it, just snoring on the deck. You would imagine they're going to be out for some time, unless you wish to intervene.
I'm due, but not right now.
Okay.
Wake him up and sing him happy birthday.
The lantern approaches, and before too long, the ship is about to dock when all of a sudden, you feel the entirety of the ship begin to turn slightly. The sail behind catches a little bit of the wind, and you hear creaks and groans as the ship begins to turn and move. The rowboat has to like shuffle its way out of the side. But no problem. You turn it in and just drift about 20 feet before tapping into the wharf.
I'll hop off and secure it.
Sure. You do that as well. The rowboat now just pulls up alongside your boat. You can see the Rider of Gallvaney, who you had previously met, and whose name one day I'm going to remember because I read
Constance Earl
it. Yeah, Earl Mott.
Yeah.
You can see Earl Mott just kind of nod to all of you. Well, that was pretty quick.
Well, you said, or at least your friend said, with haste or soon before something bad happens.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of which, kind of turns, and you can see now just kind of drifting off a separate rowboat. There's nobody propelling it, but it seems to very intentionally kind of drift. And you see the red first, but the jacket and the entirety of this hunter appear. Arquinth is able to climb quite easily and approaches all of you. All of you now kind of gathered in this kind of cluster. Anise, if you wish, you can kind of come down and join. Same with you, Bunghole Steve, if you wish. Those who are kind of gathered on the deck and who had kind of fled Baba Inu now scurry down. The rest kind of come up onto the boat, and you all now on the deck. Baba Inu, you can join them if you wish.
Yeah. She'll slowly hobble up the stairs.
This hunter steps forwards. You did well, but we have something to take care of. And he pushes past you and down the stairs. You can see the rider kind of watch. Okay.
Well, I don't know if you were going to be like, we're all following him or not.
Oh, it's up to you, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that Lord Danby knows the name of my store.
Okay, so Lord Danby is starting to like climb down. If you want to talk to him.
I want to stop him and just be like, sir, again, if you do need services relating to shoes in any way, please contact me or have one of your servants who said reach out to me. the name of the store should you require it. Sorry, I'm stalling because my notes.
He's just like nodding his head, like
Yeah.
trying to go down.
It's sole purpose. Please remember the name.
All right, the whole purpose. I got you. And he just kind of keeps going down.
Just like muttering under my breath. I hope he remembers.
And you see him walking off, the gold pants glittering in the darkness. But Lord Dandy makes his way through. You can see the rider kind of turn, and then turns to all of you. Well, you all came through. You helped out Dungan when it really needed it, and we appreciate you all mightily. So, without any further ado, he reaches into his jacket and pulls out these fairly sizable pouches of gold and hands one to each of you.
How much is it?
Opening it up is 100 gold pieces.
Nice.
Quite a sum. Kind of nods to all of you, and for what it's worth, the Dungannon gold piece is different than the other ones on the opposite side. This is not Kingdom of Sarentil, this is not Dwarven Mint. It is roughly the same size as the other gold pieces, but you can see on this, there is this kind of horse head on one side, kind of pointed to the eastern border of this coin. And then on the reverse side, you see the silhouette of Castle Koch, this huge castle that kind of looms over the cliffside and was at one point the seat of power during the last monarch's reign. For what it's worth.
Let's go check out this coffin.
You can see the rider kind of nod.
Check out the coffin.
Oh, I'm gonna chill with my orc friend. Oh no, you said he'll be knocked out for a while. I just talk to him when he wakes up. So.
Okay, we'll make sure that happens. You can see the rider kind of nod, and he says, respectfully to both you and your friend, I'm not going to go down there. Bloodroot stuff gives me the willies.
Oh, should I not go down there? I don't.
Oh, by all means, I'm sure you can, and if you can't, he won't let you. But they deal in all kinds of creepy stuff. You know about the Bloodroot Sanctuary, right?
No.
Well, they're kind of to the northwest of here. Past the Kutar Badlands, not quite far as Iron Ridge, but there's a place called the Bloodroot Sanctuary, and they separate into orders. It's kind of like a school, as far as I can tell, but they hunt different things. They consider themselves...
If you could see beady eyes shifting, you would see his eyes like shifting in this conversation.
When they were founded, they had several orders. They hunted down things that came from the abyss, this place beyond our material plane. They hunted down ghosts, ghouls, and the like, and vampires when they still walked the earth. But now,
goodness.
Now I'm not really sure what they do, truthfully. But go ahead.
You don't say. And I kind of side-eye Bob at you, just being like, something's up, but I'm not ratting you out.
This little burp, and then there's just this little puff of magic that just comes out of her mouth.
Oh, that's cute. I'm gonna mimic it. Minor illusion.
That happens.
I'm going downstairs, being like, all right, well, this sounds intriguing.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Okay, so the two of you go downstairs. Anybody else?
I could imagine it hasn't been over an hour since this whole thing is correct.
Does anybody have keen mind? You wouldn't really know, but it doesn't feel. If you have a spell cast, it does not feel as if an hour has passed.
Okay. With that in mind, I'm gonna keep the pass without a trace. I'm gonna follow behind them, but very stealthily. I wanna peep what they're doing, but I don't want to be seen.
Make a stealth check.
So that's going to be a 10, so 28.
Okay. You kind of drop in line behind them. The rider at Gallvaney turns and he says, "Now, ma'am," and begins to look, and you are no longer there. You all make your way downstairs, down through the gun deck and into the cargo. And there you see this red-clad figure standing on the side of this casket, looking down his hands on the lid of it. He looks up, kind of noting you as you enter, but then turns his attention back to it. Do any of you know what this is?
That appears to be a coffin.
Nope.
The eyes look up at you, and you see again this kind of brief red flash through the brown, like this color shift. Yes, a coffin. But do any of you know what lay in a coffin of this design? And his eyes settle directly on you, Baba Inu. Through
I
the
thought he was stealthing.
For the rest of you, you turn. You don't see anything.
Just like, I'm just gonna like point and sort of like lean in the way.
Okay, yeah, you just
We both
Like-
just.
Me? There's no one else there.
no, fantastic. For you, Baba Inu, you see this intense look, and then these two people just step right in front of you. It's like being at a concert. You can't see anything. But that happens. Yeah. Well done.
Did you? Presumably a body, but maybe of importance because it looks like a special coffin. And then I kind of like smiled confidence, like I got a good question right.
He looks at you, and you see just the hint of a smile on this face. Very good. A long time ago, there were things that walked this planet darker than what does today. Have you heard of vampires?
Yeah.
Just up on deck actually, and maybe in some stories before that.
Bunghole Steve, are you lying about that?
No, I'm sure I've heard of vampires.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I've been around. I like to tell stories, like to hear stories. Yeah, I've heard of vampires.
He puts one red glove on the top, and his finger begins to trace these sigils, and you see this line of light kind of etch in its wake. A long time ago, before there really was a Dungannon, this daylight festival meant something else. It meant a celebration of the end of the last monarch of Dungannon, the Bloody Baron, the father of the Night Children, the last great vampire on Alberon. You get the sense, Bunghole Steve and Selwyn, he's almost trying to look through you. But you're really ruining.
Well, it's
Yeah.
more just like I make eye contact when speaking. I figured he wanted me to meet his gaze. That's
Yeah,
what
he
I'm
like
doing.
it feels like he's almost trying to look by you, but he can't.
But you keep moving like.
I mean, like,
that.
yes, keep going.
Yeah.
Are you having trouble focusing here? Are you all right, sir?
He settles on you. This last king, King Somathorn, had a relative, Quaid. The only one that we could track. He was injured, staked, but not through the heart, through the skull. And as his hand kind of finishes the gesture, the top of the coffin shifts slightly, and you see dust. For you, Baba Inu, you can smell instantly the loam of grave dirt. The casket seems to slide the top off, collapsing onto the ground, and you see before you humanoid in many ways. You can see very pale skin, not ruined with time like you thought this corpse might be, not mummified. There is no breath that is drawn into the dark garment and the very, very thin body. And then it rises up. You see the hands clasped over the chest, long, almost dark, like fingernails that seem to edge on talons. The face contorted, almost a snarl locked onto the lips, and you see through the actual head going in on one end and down through the jaw there is a wooden stake. You can see it seems to protrude through, and where the flesh is torn you actually see the long incisor of a vampire. This is Quaid Somathorn, and somebody ordered him shipped across the ocean to this place on this evening, a celebration of the end of his brother's reign. Tell me, fighter, and he looks at you, Solon, what do coincidences mean to you?
Well, that there's some sort of thread to follow.
Precisely. My partner, Lorelei, is looking for the person who shipped this. Interestingly enough, the head librarian of Dungannon Private Libraries. Are you familiar?
Yes, of course.
Make a history check.
I don't know. Would I? I feel like I would at least know of it, right?
Maybe. I mean,
I've lived here for 2 years. Heard of it at least.
It's a big town.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a lot of libraries in Dungannon.
History? Well, a flat
History.
18.
Flat
Lucky
18.
that I'm.
To
Yeah, you can make a history check as well. Pull up my map of Dungannon.
17.
17. This private library, it is one of the very few libraries that is private. There is a certain amount of money that goes into the. Unlike Port Quinn, education is really important in Dungannon. There are several colleges, there are universities, museums. This is a very old city, the oldest on the continent in terms of kind of human-centric ones. This is a place steeped in history. We're Aka here. You would know the Dungannon Antiquities Collective is actually based out of a basement of a museum, of one of the more famous museums. But you would know that this private library resides kind of at the base of the Picket Hill neighborhood, just a little bit south, maybe 10 minutes. It would be closed tonight, as it is this festival. Don't know that much more about it, other than the fact that it does require a pretty significant fee to be able to enter.
Yes, I have heard of it.
Bunghole Steve, did you roll higher than an 18?
No, I rolled a 17.
Okay. You know roughly the same stuff.
Yeah, I know stuff.
So what was he saying?
So he now has his hands resting on the side of this open casket. Baba Inu, are you doing anything? You see in front of you, no more than 20 feet away, and having heard a lot about this possibility, what looks like an actual vampire.
Baba Inu will leave out of the shadows, hobble forward with her little cane. She's gonna get as close to this vampire and the thing as she can. She glances up at this man, looks at the vampire, takes her cane and tries to boot the vampire on the forehead.
Okay. You watch as this old gnome comes forward and whack, just right in the forehead. There's a soft thump. That happens.
She like meanders over back towards the two humans and says, nope.
You see the figure follow you with a little bit of interest.
No dreams.
Tell me, miss. I'm interested to know. What do you think of all of this?
Bunch of bad juju. I'll tell you that much. Those ones that kill the people and shouldn't kill people. It's bad business.
For the most part, I'd agree. You should understand that should things be rising in the way that I believe, the people of Dungannon are going to come down on your kind harder than ever.
I just sort of like looking at
Dramatic
Baba.
chipmunk.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Because we're that old. Dramatic chipmunk really aged me right there.
If I could give you an
Yes, it
info,
did.
I would.
OG meme, damn.
She looks back and says,
I can take care of my own.
I can
She
testify
props
to
up
that.
Same.
her hands on the cane and rests her chin on top.
He turns and kind of looks at all of you. I will admit, you didn't do badly. I may have an offer for all of you. There is something else happening here. Do any of you know where this festival originated?
Aside from what you've told me, I just knew it as a good time to drum up business and eat food.
He smiles. Not wrong. This is a holiday meant to celebrate the rising of the sun, but it celebrates a specific rising of the sun. The last great monarch of Dungannon was named Andrastus Summerfall, the Bloody Bear, father of each. He nearly collapsed Dungannon into a dark image of what it is now. When dawn came, during the penultimate battle of Dungannon, the tides were able to turn. Do any of you know the Bright Court?
Yeah. Probably not.
They arrived. Make a history check.
Yay.
They arrived from across the Emerald Expanse and brought the sun with them. What was your roll?
14.
And sorry, I misspoke. It is the Dawn Court, I think, but it's a monastic order located in Everest. Not a ton known about them from your perspective. But he's going to say they arrived and brought with them the sun, and the tides turned once more. We were able to be victorious and drove the vampires from this land once and for all, or so we thought. I'm going to say with that, Bunghole Steep, as a bard, make a history check.
Um, 16.
So previously, you had said that Nilly Winslow possibly had some kind of part in your backstory. What was that?
Oh, simply just that my daughter dreams of touring an opening for him.
Okay.
He's
So-
a big fan.
You would know some of the fan or the songs. Dreams.
So, worth noting. So, Drew, since you haven't played in our main campaign, Nilly Winslow is essentially Willie Nelson, but a gnome. And he is the foremost bard in Alberon at the moment.
Perfection.
Yeah. So, what I will say is, Bunghole Steve, as a bard,
a
knowing
lot of
your
gnomes
daughter-
tonight. Wow,
Yeah.
just realizing that.
No
Anyways.
gnome on the range. You would know a variety of Nilly Winslow's songs. And with the roll of 16, suddenly, with all of this information, there is a song that comes to mind. It is a song that's called Until the Day Has Come. It is by Nilly Winslow, and it is kind of an older song at this point. It is a love song. And so that kind of strange. But what really rises to your mind is... but until our paths do cross again, and the fire has left the sun, I'll dream of lovely nighttime now until the day has come. And you think about this song, and in your like bard mind, you begin to connect dots and pull across. This is like all the red strings of like line of the red strings connecting all the
Conspiracy theorists kind of like corkboard.
And this song, it talks a lot about the idea of night and day being personified as these two lovers, and the daytime, you know, kind of this wistful longing for this eclipse to occur where they can they can kind of be together again for that brief period. And that to you reminds you of another song about dawn, or another poem actually. It's called A Soldier's Plea. And you're realizing that what this guy is saying probably true. And all of this festival beginning to kind of fall into a different light for you. But with all of that, with a 16, I'm going to say you don't quite remember what the poem itself is. But he kind of states that and then says, this casket was ordered to be delivered on this day. There is something that does not sit right with me, and it has been some time since Lorelei checked in. I could pay something extra if you require it, but perhaps you could accompany me to make sure that all is right. I sense there might be something else occurring.
we're going to the library, I would expect my entry fee to be paid, as well as an additional fee to help to assist in this game. Gotta put food on the table, you know.
He looks at you. We won't be going to the library directly. That is probably closed. We'll be going to the librarian herself.
Just
As
a
long as
small.
there's money involved, I'll help that.
Dreams. Reads books.
I bet a librarian has wild dreams.
But he turns and looks down at this casket.
What
Is there
should
anything?
we do with it? Them.
His hand kind of rests on the hilt of a dagger tucked at his belt. And you can see the sheath, red leather with these kind of silver buttons that buckle the two pieces together. And as his hand pulls it, you see silvered blade, but as the silver runs along the inside of the sheath, these almost like radiant sparks out of the sheath as he like pulls it into his hand. Runes now kind of like light the side of the sheath, and the silver bit glows with a radiant energy.
Baba backs up slowly.
You see in a motion, he kind of curves his body, the cloak, like or the jacket kind of turning to his side, and he steps in front of it, very mindfully shielding you, Baba Yanu, from the light of this thing.
Oh, polite.
Papa bless.
And he takes the dagger and just plunges it into the heart of this being. You see for a moment the still body, entirely still, just kind of jerks taut. You see every muscle kind of go. You hear a bone snap with the muscle actually pulling it past its breaking point, and then it falls silent. And then little bit by little bit around the wound, you watch as the skin itself crumbles into ash, before all that lies is just a pile of smoke and gray.
That is what we should do about that. Okay.
He sticks the dagger back in.
Alright, well,
Well, honest work is honest work, and I certainly would offer my services. From one job to the next seems like pretty okay for me.
Turns excellent and turns to you, bunghole Steve.
Never not.
Satyr.
what's the cash reward?
His eyes narrow a little bit. What is your rate, adventurer?
This one was 100. Say 100. Another 100, and I'm into it.
Done.
Sounds good.
It was that easy. How about 200 for me?
You
If you were watching, the ability to dispatch the foes.
for a moment, looks over for Annis before like kind of looking down and finding you. And you.
You pay me, ultimately give me back to my crew. I'm a happy person.
His eyes kind of narrow, and you see he's like a little distracted by something. What are you chewing?
Oh, this? And pull it out. It's gum.
You see just this wad of like, little bits of brown and like yellow tucked into this gray, dense clay-like material. And he draws back for the first time, somewhat perturbed. That's an adhesive.
Yeah. Your point?
I'll pay you 120 gold.
Hey, what?
I'll take it.
He turns to you. I have 80 gold left for you. To you.
To me?
Owen, yeah.
Oh. 80 gold.
Oh, ha!
I just passed over my 200, huh?
Alright, listen. You saved me in that last battle. How about we split it? We'll both take 90.
Very honorable. I accept.
I'm a good guy.
Make a persuasion check, Morwen.
Morwen, who?
God damn it.
The bunghole thief.
Bunghole.
He even
Please,
plays a
make
bunghole flute.
I know. The bunghole flute is so great. I love that.
Yeah.
What is, I'm sorry, persuasion.
Persuasion, yeah.
Right, that is a 23.
He looks from you to Solwyn as you make this agreement, and he kind of rolls his eyes. I'll pay you each 100 gold. Can we go?
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
You talk to the fellow upstairs before we about them. And I don't mean God, I mean the orc.
To that point, I have something I need to retrieve, if there is, in fact, a vampire at large. I can meet you all near this person's house, if you have things to attend to.
Certainly.
30
Our
minutes.
time. Oh, sick. Okay.
Perfect.
He turns, the jacket turning, and he faces you, Babayini.
Oh.
I expect you'll want to come along regardless of the reward.
This is a fair assessment, child. They kill, which takes away my food.
Before we go, once you're done taking care of what you need to do, I would have words with you.
I will have words with you.
Until then.
Until then.
He kind of gives a half bow to all of you. The most deference definitely paid to Baba Inu. He kind of gives a sort of like a half bow, and then begins to ascend the stairs.
Okay.
All
All right. Yeah. So, Annis, that large crystal thing again. Are we leaving it and trusting it to the care of the city? Are we?
I mean, if we can sell it, that would be ideal.
Okay.
Please
know
True.
a store that's,
And me too.
And I was gonna start climbing back to Solwyn.
Like, oh,
So you just kind of like to the side slightly as the weight changes, and then
just like
straighten up with Yoda on your back.
okay, all right. I guess this is a thing.
Firm.
suggest that you sell it at Collegians in exchange. Is that correct?
So the pronunciation of it is just one moment.
Alessia?
Bullfrogs. Calessian's Golden Exchange is the oddity shop located kind of in one of the nicer districts for sure.
Now, with 30 minutes to spare, does this seem feasible?
I would say that
Me
some
knowing
of-
the layout of the town, kind of. That's true.
Yeah, and so both of you knowing where it is, I mean, there's a couple ways you can go, but you can definitely walk in a way that it would be on your way. And yeah, you can
Okay.
certainly do it.
Let's do that then. I believe you would probably be best to sell this, and this, since I have no idea what it is other than very heavy.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Did anyone check the captain's quarters for more information?
Nah.
Okay.
The job description, so I didn't bother.
Fair enough. I guess time is of the essence. And are we back up on top?
You are, yes.
Slash with Constance. Constance, we left a prisoner. Sorry about the rest. I feel like I got a little excited.
He smiles and says, yeah, but the good thing about a dead pirate is they can't become a repeat offender, so ultimately I think you did pretty good.
Okay. Maybe you can get some information out of this to where the rest of the ruffians might be if that's the case.
I can give it a shot. Wake
Are
up,
you
Cupcake.
willing
And he
to
just
partner
kind
with
of
that?
taps him with his boot, a little hard. You see just kind of like the grunt in this orc kind of sleepily opens his eyes a little bit, now tied, amassed.
Alright, I want to calm this guy down.
Okay.
I want to give him a chance.
All right, what are you doing?
I'm getting ready to throw the crystal overboard while this is happening.
Sorry about the situation. I never asked your name. What's your name? I'm Bunghole Steve. And you are?
Bunghole. Just one second, I lost his name. Near the top. Okay. My name is Grogus. I'm a fighter, and I worked here. He kind of looks around, but I think I'm unemployed now.
What's a handsome fellow like you with the skill set you have working with these losers? You know, I heard it was your birthday.
Make a
Did any of them
persuasion.
even remember?
Make a persuasion check.
Jeez.
I need to
Bring out the
math that.
calculator. It's above 20.
30.
30.
Well above
Yeah.
20.
He goes, well, things have been kind of hard. Nobody wants to hire an orc because they all think we're aggressive, even though we're not. But you're right, they weren't the best and they were kind of mean to me.
It seems like it, man. I mean, like, you were enjoying the show, you know? And,
Yeah.
you know, hey, look at me. I understand the judgments, but there's good work out there for a kind guy.
He looks you up and down. Yeah, you're pretty fat. Can you let me out now?
Are we pals? We cool?
Kind of looks around. I mean, if you want to be.
No, I mean, is he gonna be violent towards me? I just
Oh, make an insight check.
okay.
While you're doing the insight, Baba pops around the corner.
29.
Happy birthday to you!
Oh, thank you.
It's a 29 for
The 29. This guy is really easy to read. He's not very smart. It is his birthday, and you know he is probably gonna be happy to be walking away from this.
All right, I'm gonna untie him. I'm gonna say, you know, check out. Okay, wait. Okay, question, Joe. Side.
Sure.
Since we didn't establish any bar names, is there a Bunghole Tavern?
There is not. That I assumed you made up wholesale. If you want the name of a real tavern, you want to like retroactively
Yeah.
kind of sub it in. The one that you'd be most familiar with would be the Bullfrog's Last Croak.
Okay.
Tell him to go be a
listen,
bouncer.
here's 2 pieces of gold for your birthday. Why don't you go enjoy a
Give me
few
this
drinks?
money back.
Oh,
I know, but
You go over to what'd you say?
Bullfrog's
Bullfrog's Last Croak.
Bullfrog's Last Croak. You tell him you're friends with Bunghole Steve. See if you can work out a little side gig, a little bouncing here and there. You know, the weekends get rowdy.
He stands up a little wobbly. You see this bump like side. He kind of smiles. He's a little starry-eyed, and he puts the gold in his pouch, which is not there. So you hear tink, 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 as they just fall onto the deck of the ship. All right,
Pick him up,
Bunghole
put him
Steve.
in his hand.
Hold
on to that.
Thanks. And
Baba Inu's gonna aggressively go into her pack on her back. Or actually, you know what? She has like a little purse. She reaches down in it. She pulls out a candle and aggressively looks at Bunghole Steve and holds it up as if, I want you to light this.
I do.
I hold the candle in front.
Blow it out!
I'm gonna
yes, make a wish.
Before that even
All
before
right.
she even says it, I'm gonna snuff it.
Oh man!
Here,
Baba Inu grabs
give
the
it another
candle,
try. Oh, okay.
slaps it, and throws it back in front of Bunghole Steve. And then holds it back up.
Thanks, guys. I hope this job works out. And just blows a little bit of spittle onto it.
Oh.
Well, thank you, Bunghole Steve. I'm gonna give it a try. And he just kind of ponderously moves off the boat.
Remember, just be a nice guy.
I'm an orc, but I'll do my best. And he just is now walking up.
Ah! Happy
Amazing.
birthday to Grant!
10 out of 10 roleplay. This is 4-dimensional D&D now. So, with that, you watch as he walks up. You hear just kind of like singing a little bit as he kind of wanders off into the mist. You all find yourselves kind of alone on this deck with the Rider of Gallvaney. Is there anything that you wish to do before you depart on your way to this curiosity shop?
That's done my work.
Yeah, I
My
think-
deed for the day.
We were given half an hour for 100 gold. I'm not going to pass that up.
For sure. So you guys begin to make your way off the ship. Instead of following, there's so many names in this foreshot. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
Mini
Gragas
arc.
just kind of heads off a little bit to the north, and you guys wrap around to the south. You begin to progress through Dungannon. Here, now a little bit darker, you see the black and gold all across, just banners and flags, these paper lanterns, each cut with these little, almost like jack-o'-lanterns. They have patterns and little scenes cut into them, some very basic, some, much nicer. You walk through, and actually, let me just, I'll just make some cheerier. This is very, very, real music. Ugh, that's scary.
It's all when you probably just feel these like pointy feet in like dug into your back.
Yeah.
It's just like holding on, just
Yeah.
lots of grunts.
It's like interesting.
And for you,
Yeah.
well, the shadows move a lot more because as soon as you get near a lantern, this cane just whacks it out of the way behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really see where I'm going, so I'm kind of hoping that someone's guiding me. Like, this thing, I'm assuming, is larger. If I'm holding it at my torso, is it going up above my eyesight?
So holding it at your torso, yeah, it gets you right about here on your head.
Yeah, so
you
I
have to
hope
kind of
someone's
look to the
guiding me.
side,
So-
and, you're kind of moving around.
With that, I would probably go.
Oh yeah, Baba, be my eyes.
Get her up and sits
On the crystal?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And she'll like smack you like a riding crop with the cane.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm now an ox. It's great.
So this occurs, and very easy for you to all follow. I guess we're going to call this, wait, where's my notes? This would be Baba Sulwin, as they navigate the
Bobwin. It's Bobwin.
Bobwin, fantastic.
That
I ship
sounds like
it.
a Mortal Kombat character. But so like Ferrator.
Oh,
You pass beautiful stalls, candy.
that got me. Oh,
11
that got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good job.
Critical joke.
You find you pass all these beautiful stalls with candies. You see more ale steak kind of as you pass. You see here and there on tall stilts these individuals clad in gold that breathe this fire as they walk. They're called sun breathers, and you guys would know this is a little bit magical in nature. You see on the opposite side of the spectrum as you pass these long kind of dark poles wrapped in a gauzy fabric, and here and there they are kind of performing on them. There are what are called night dancers, which are essentially just silk-clad aerialists. You pass by children running through the streets holding star sticks, which are these kind of sparklers. That have scent. Yeah, they have scent and this kind of prestidigitation effect woven into them. And you can see here and there people kind of planting these little seeds in pots. For those of you who are kind of native to Dungannon, you would know that these are probably snapdragon carnation or Dungannon sunflower seeds. And this is kind of like a tradition of planting one of these to watch it grow as the days grow longer. Eventually, as you walk through, hearing like song here and there. You what?
How long do they? Is there like a bunch from years before?
Of which these sparklers?
Oh, no, the little snapdragon. What'd you say?
Oh, yeah. So within Dungannon, if you look at like the window planters and everything, some of the most popular ones are there's these like tall snapdragons in reds, purples, and yellows. Here and there blues, so those are much more expensive. There are carnations in a variety of color, and then the Dungannon sunflower, a little bit unique in that there is like a glossy nature to the petals.
And they're all like planted in one area.
Yeah, and from not in one area, but from years past, you see them in window boxes, in planters, you
Oh,
can see
I
them in
understand.
gardens, yeah, everywhere.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna pass by. I'm gonna assume there's maybe like a small little collection, like a public collection of them.
Sure.
I'm just gonna point one out and be like, me and my kid planted one of those the other year, last year. Right
Baba
there."
smacks him with the cane.
No, folks.
You gotta turn.
That's really cool.
It's the prettiest one of all.
I believe you.
Feeling
Stomp
that,
on it. No, I'm just kidding.
all of a sudden, in front of you on the left, this building rises up as if narratively it makes sense. You see, A very interesting shop. It's relatively small, but the front is entirely glass, which transitions without seams or panes to glass windows on the right and left side. Glass is incredibly expensive in Dominion. In fact, the Finger Gang has seen very little of it outside of Yorn, an ancient city that incorporated it in a different way. But this single seamless glass window, and behind you see a glass display case, there's a glass counter, and there are glass shelves. There are some dress forms as well. This is a beautiful, brightly lit curio shop, and you see the owner of it kind of standing behind the counter, his fiery red hair slicked back, wearing some very, very vibrant clothing. Do you all enter?
If I can fit the crystal in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a standard sized doorway, so yeah, you can definitely.
Okay, I don't
do it.
know.
Baba Inu, as you go, make a dexterity saving throw as you go through this doorway.
Yeah, I'm just walking because you didn't say anything else.
So let's see, that's a 26.
So as you walk in, you kind of lower. You underestimate how much you need to go by. So Baba Inu is like about to smack in, and you watch as this limber old woman just limbo straight back, like, a little bit further than should be possible, generally speaking, and just goes underneath the door before popping up.
The
You
bun
just
just
hear
like. Oh wait, and the bun hits the doorbell. Ding!
And this fiery-haired half-elf with tan skin that seems to have naturally forming patterns underneath turns. And you see him ready with this like kind of written thing where he goes, "Welcome to Coletta." Oh, can I have
She'll smack him again.
It's a dance.
Oh, please.
Desk. Oh, desk.
Whatever that
Can I
is,
can I put this down?
please, and gently.
Yes, I'll try, and then I'll just gently lower it down, I guess.
Baba's gonna do like a backflip off the crystal and then back onto your back, holding on to it.
So Baba backflips. You put the crystal down, and as you stand up, you feel. She lands.
Just like upright again. Just like, oh, okay.
How fantastic. You'll forgive me, normally I'm the showman here, but welcome to Calassian's Golden Exchange. You're pleased to meet me, Calassian, the proprietor of this pretty perplexing and positively perfect establishment. What have you got your eye on? And he kind of like stands to the side, and you see just beautiful things in the case. Ceramic plates. You see a katana of Damascus steel, which is Mithril steel in this setting. A handle that ends in the sneering face of the devil. You see a pelt of Yeti fur, a small wooden flute carved a purple heartwood with black accents. You see a pair of beautiful mahogany brown cowboy boots with silver moons and stars that shines with their magic and definitely captures your attention, Sylvan. You see a beautiful gauzy shawl woven of amethyst cavern spider silk in a rich black that shimmers with a sort of purple color shift in the pattern of spider webs. You can see on the dress forms these beautiful daylight celebration outfits. One's a metallic golden shirt that has negative spaces cut away on long bars to create like ribs of fabric across the right side, and wide ruffled sleeves bound in black leather cords at the elbows. With black leather pants and golden sun on the right hip with rays that extend out. Very David Bowie. But dressing like that. But the eyes on this crystal as it goes down.
I look over to Annis.
I'm gonna
like, yes,
walk
what-
out
what
from
do we
behind the
have?
crystal
Hmm?
and gesture to it. Eyes on this.
Yes, no, my eyes are very much on this. Just one moment. And he snaps, and suddenly you see these little curtains in front of the windows. Just kind of this dark fabric.
Make him say more P words.
The little sign on the door, which read open on the other side by itself,
It's-
and is now reading closed. You see open on your side within. He looks around at all of you. So pleased to have all of you. Did anyone see you come?
Well, we walked right through town.
I stick it out.
Well, that's an issue we may need to deal with later, but for now, what an intriguing item.
Yep, looking to sell it.
Well, I am an exchange. I don't do straight purchases or things of that nature, but perhaps I have something to trade. No doubt you know what this is, of course.
Of course.
Da, 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 da.
I love it.
He looks and kind of nods at you. Well, then, I won't waste your time with the things out here. None of you are involved with the law in any way.
Depends on
We
what
just
you
helped
mean.
them.
You need to say so, or else it's entrapment.
Yes, we just helped them.
I'm a
Actually.
constable.
It's,
You're riding on my shoulder still.
make a deception check, Baba Inu, at disadvantage.
Oh no. Hey, I rolled 2 8s with deception plus 6. So what's that?
14.
14?
Well, I don't quite believe you, forgive me, but it seems as if any of you reekon with a especially lawful alignment. I have an item that might be worth trading. It is not exactly on the up and up. It does technically capture souls, and that is quite illegal in Ganon and most of but if I had such an item, would you be interested?
He's a lich. Dirty lich.
Father Uhu just kind of says, very small face, and he says, not.
I don't know what that is, but
What else you got?
okay.
Well, if you are interested in something a little bit more mundane than that, is there something that you're looking for? Perhaps something to deal a little damage, or are you more of the defense?
I like those boots.
Turns and looks across the case. And he looks down at your shoes, kind of looks up and down, and breaks into a big smile. Why, yes, these are quite a nice item, and I can see that you dress rather splendidly yourself. I admire those shoes. Well, we can't all be perfectly dressed. He gestures to your sleeve. Let me help. And he gestures with his hand, and suddenly the fabric just weaves itself back together.
Oh, I gotta learn that one.
The stain I can't do anything about, but you're welcome. A free service. As for the food, they do aid in a variety of things. Should you be of the right skill set, you might be able to utilize them to dance significantly better, be it in combat or out.
I don't know. He's a pretty good dancer as is.
I'm sure, but this is something a little bit less natural. And you, a satyr, right? I've not seen one of you before. Welcome to my shop. You play instruments. Kind of gestures to your bunghole flute.
Yeah.
All right, instrument. Well,
Do yes.
perhaps I can interest you in this as part of the trade. And he pulls down off of the shelf this small wooden flute carved of purple heartwood. You see black accents, and you do see it shines a little.
It's beautiful, but I'd say this trade goes to the little one over there, and we have wiggle room to throw that in. But that is my decision. I mean, that is my choice.
Very well. And which little one are you referring to?
Oh, that one.
We both point it,
Yeah.
and it's like the only one who knows possibly what this thing is.
Very well.
I don't
Turn
know
to you, Ennis. Well, let's see what we have here. And he comes out from around the counter and kind of gets down on one knee and kneels down. So what are you looking for, little one?
I'm looking for you to treat me like an adult.
I came in. Make an intimidation check.
Are you?
Yep.
$22.
22. You can see he draws back a little bit. The sneer from such a little creature, very, very alarming in its sudden. And for all of you watching, there is this kind of there's a look that people are able to give where you can tell, regardless of their size or stature, there's a seriousness to what's about to happen. And you can see he kind of straightens up and, perhaps we could discuss this on more concrete terms. But
Indeed.
it's you and me who will be doing business. Perhaps we should speak a little bit more privately, where we can work out things with less fanfare. Gestures to this door behind the counter. If you would not mind, touching any of the things on the shelves beyond may result in dismemberment, death, or things far worse. So just keep your hands to yourself.
That's what a lich would say.
He walks up
Ken,
and
what's a
he
lich?
opens this door. And as he opens it, you can see beyond this. It's probably a room roughly the same size. You do not see a ceiling. The space is unnaturally high. You can see far, far, far surpasses what this building should encompass. And you see just a warehouse of items behind.
Wait, is it just them two?
He said yes. Just
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
wait.
just standing out front.
Fine, I'll just ask,
Okay, wait. Anise? Am I pronouncing that right? Is it Anise?
Anise.
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 Anise. Okay. You trade, you know, this is on you, but again, if you got some wiggle room, the kid would really, really like that flute.
You can do it. Just saying. I step out, hoping that I can give that.
I'll see what I can do.
Petals, your
That
daughter.
would be her thing.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. So
Love
he
it.
gestures, and Annis, you step into this room. At the moment, it is midnight, and so for the evening, this is where we're going to stop. However,
We can start with shopping next time.
we're going to begin with shopping. I really paced this out pretty mindfully because trying to pace something for 4 sessions is a weird ask. But I have it pretty.
Yeah.
I put a lot into this particular thing. Anyways, it is midnight, so we're going to end for this evening. We will be back next week with Act 2 of Bloodroot. Drew, thank you so much for joining us for this little adventure.
You know what? This is for you guys. Just
Oh,
You got that queued up.
thank you.
Yeah.
But thank you, like for real, for joining us. It's Baba Inu is an absolute delight to have.
Yeah.
I love her very much.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I'm growing attached to Selwyn in the weirdest way. I made him like neutral so I wouldn't feel bad if he died. But he's just so charmingly like, yes.
I can't wait till the
And this
finger
duo
gang-
is great.
finger gang, like just like it's gonna run into this group at some point. It's gonna be
Yeah. We're like the nice doppelgangers.
yeah. Somehow more chaotic. Somehow. But anyways, for this evening, we're gonna call it a night. We'll be back next Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Act 2 of Bloodroot. Drew will be back to join us for that little event. But until then, please stay safe out there. It is still pretty hectic and, tons of things
Weird.
happening around. It's getting weird.
It's weird.
Shit's weird.
So until then, stay safe and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.